Dun dun dun.
Hey
The
guys, welcome back to the
broadcast
Mad
is
Liber Tea
live.
party. Where up is down, left is right. Fucking rules don't matter because we're all fucking mad here. And you know what I like to say, madness is always more fun with friends. And tonight we got a friend. I found him on the street. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't find him on the street. Hey, dude. Hey, you want to introduce yourself? Tell him who the
um,
fuck you are.
I'm a poor, wretched hermit he found on the street under the overpass off 33rd South in Salt Lake. He was coming through one day, and I really needed a place to stay. He's a
I've
dear
never
friend
been
of
to Salt
mine.
Lake. I haven't been up that far
Hi,
yet.
folks.
I'm gonna go up there though.
Uh,
God damn it! You're gonna have to show my ass
I'll get down.
around.
I have a feeling I'll see you before you see me, but they call me Tommy Paine the Eighth. Generally seems to be known as the resident asshole of the Boogaloo. I'm completely
Tommy
fine with
Paine in
that.
the
Fuck
ass.
you. Um, the state calls me Mark Brandon Smith. Call me whatever you want. So that's me in a nutshell. Other than that, ask
We're gonna
away, my
have
friend.
some fucking anarchist discussion and shit like that here later. But first, I want to ask you,
Fuck the
and
state.
I kind of know the answer to all this, but like
Yeah.
honestly, like, were you? I gotta ask for everybody else. Were you always like this, or did you like have a coming to liberty thing?
Yeah. So I've always been this crazy. That's well established. And we were just talking about this before. My come to liberty moment was my second grade class. And I got to learn how bad authoritarianism, collectivism, and general bureaucracy are. Basically, my second grade teacher, Mrs. Olgin, fuck you. Total tyrant to the max, extreme. We show up the first day and we had to share all of our all of our supplies, throw them in this big old bin, and you look over this kid and he starts picking his nose with your goddamn crayon. True story.
Oh
And
no,
yeah, true story. First day of my second grade, I throw it in 10 minutes in. This kid Jarvis picking his nose with my
Jarvis! You
god.
know it's gonna be somebody named Jarvis.
And I
Jesus
remember
Christ!
it. He's picking his nose with my orange fucking crayon. Which is cool because I hate orange, but I was so bummed. Anyways, teacher from hell. We would go a month at a time without having recess. And we figured out, my mother figured out at the time, it was because she was catching up on paperwork like a total bureaucrat. She couldn't catch up on paperwork so she would keep us in from recess and she couldn't go watch us outside. And whole thing.
That's
And
not
I just
healthy
learned,
for kids, if you ask me.
oh no, no, like we got to the point we were like puking before school. Like we would be, me and my twin brother would be nauseously sick before going to school. Anyways, that at I would have been 7, turning 8 in October. So I was like 8 years old. I realized I hated authoritarianism, I hated collectivism, and I hated bureaucracy, and that just was indelible and it stuck with me. I was anarchist by 14, and really haven't swayed too far from that since.
So, how did you discover
Yeah.
anarchism? Like,
Uh, started with Les Mis. Read
Les
Les Mis when I
Mis?
was in the
Fucking
yes.
Christ, you're
Can
such a nerd.
do
I
you
love
hear the
it.
people sing? I read Les Mis in the third grade. Um, I just started reading other shit. In the fifth grade, I was reading Marx, and I hated Marx. And it was in the sixth grade I found Lysander Spooner, straight up OG, and that was what did it for me. It was Lysander Spooner, and then it took me like 2 more years to really get with the moniker of anarchist. Be like, yeah, I'm an anarchist, Black Flag. But I really was, I guess, before 14. I remember it's 2 days after my 14th birthday. I looked over at my best friend, like, I think I'm an anarchist. I'm not
I
supposed to
think
be that. I'm not supposed to be that, but I like really am. And he just looked at me as like, I don't know what I am, but that sounds cool. And since that day, I was like, well, that sounds cool. And that's what I've been, and that's what I really haven't strayed from. So I mean, I'm right leaning, no doubt about it. As far as a lot of people would be concerned, I'm right leaning. I'm really kind of just a glorified boomer.
a
But
glorified boomer.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
You're not that
But
bad.
yeah, I I'm not. I would hope not. Kind of am. There's some people who would care to disagree with you on that, but
Yeah,
fuck them.
I'm sure. Whatever. There's some people that think I'm a boomer too, I'm sure. So,
Yeah,
like,
boomers unite.
you became an anarchist at like 14. Like,
Yeah.
how does one go from being like a teenage anarchist to deciding they were gonna get involved with like the boog and all that shit?
Well, I mean, I'd been a lurker. I mean, I'm a child of 4chan, right? Of all the fucked up absurdity that is being a
Oh
child born
God.
on the borderline of being I'm born in 94. So I'm right on, like, I have all the fucked up parts of the millennials, all the fucked up parts of the Gen Z. I really don't have any of the redeeming attributes. Uh, lurker on 4chan as a child. I've been lurking on the Boog chat since the, K days. Um, I so I've been always anti-authoritarian, and I just kind of 2020 was a lot of fucker. I'd been out of what one would call activism or whatnot for a little bit for some reasons, and it was actually Kobe's death that really fucked me up, and a lot of reasons. That's basically Kobe was like my one friend growing up, to be honest, and a little 8-inch tube TV in the back a lot of times. Watching Sports Center at 26, Kobe was on Sports Center more than anything else. And his death really fucked me up. I got drunk and got fired that night. And I woke
Wow.
up, I'm like, I've got to change some shit. And my thing has always been about collecting information. What will be subversive material, the
Kind of like
scene
an
where
archiver or
yeah, like where Evie goes to what's his dude's house and opens up the back and he's got the Quran and he's got, God save the Queen. And that was I worshipped that idea back when that movie came out. I was 11 or 12, right when this was all developing. I think the movie came out in 05. And
I made everybody
damn me
watch
if I'm
that
wrong.
movie for my birthday last
Oh
year.
yeah. Nice. um and so anyways, I always resonated with that, and that's always been a project I've worked on, right? I've got literally terabytes of information, and from the philosophy to, I mean, frankly, we live in a day and age where within 20 years, Shrek and the American Idiot album from Green Day are going to be considered subversive material. No doubt about it. Uh, uh, uh,
Indeed.
um, it's going to be within my lifetime for sure. 20 years tops, I think. I mean, just what is said in in the American Idiot album, a song Letter Bomb. Where will all the
Yeah.
martyrs go when the virus cures itself, and where will we all go when it's too late? So that's always been on my mind. It's kind of my personal obsession, and I just ramped that up when Kobe died, and then I've always been involved in spheres, of various things.
Seems like kind of a natural progression almost for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, precisely. Like it went from that. I got involved in Anonymous. Let's just throw that out there. Past that, just got involved with various things, and the Boog was, I guess, the next natural progression of that. It cops off, in May. Duncan is gets murdered on March 12th, and that was the same day they shut down the sports. Right, he was murdered that morning, if I remember correctly, and then the night before. So that 24-hour stretch was pretty weird for me. I guess I should go back. That was my next big date. Is that
See, I
night,
wasn't
March
that big
11th.
in sports, so it didn't really click to me. So when you mentioned that prior, I was like, whoa, I didn't even
Yeah,
think about that.
yeah. And so that night, and so I'm sitting there, I'm in a hotel in Provo, Utah, and they shut down the sports, and it was a Utah Jazz game, right? It was the Jazz Oklahoma City Thunder game. Gobert and Mitchell test positive, and they that's when you started realizing the shittery was a fuck. And it haunted me, and so Duncan dies the next morning. I'm getting texts about that as they start shutting everything down. And when they shut down March Madness, which is the second biggest sports event of the year, I'm just like, this is a complete attack on the institutions. This is attack on the last institution that brought us together as a society, in a day and age where we no longer have the Cheers and the Friends and the Mash to bring us together and talk about. We no longer have the
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain and the Beatles. These institutions of community that still existed within the zeitgeist are just completely damned, just gone. And it fucking, I sat down, I just sobbed. I was like, what the fuck? This is a new era. And it had been something that kind of stuck with me since Kobe died. It just had this feeling, this gut, and that was the confirmation of it. I remember I called my mother, and who's not usually somebody like I call about these things, but I just told her, like, Mama, this is a coup on the American people. And I said that in March 12th. And I'll just be damned if I haven't been proved more and more correct. Call me an egotistical cunt if you want. And
I mean, I think that we're all horrified at how correct we've been over the past like
yeah.
year and a half, 2 years at the most. Like
Hmm.
it's been fucking crazy. Even
Yeah,
fucking
and it has.
Alex Jones has been proven correct, and that's terrifying.
Well, I have opinions on Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a bit of a broken prophet, if you want. He's the godfather of the truther movement. So let's just be honest. He may be a crazy snake oil salesman, son of a bitch, but like him or not, he's put in a lot of work.
Yeah, he moved people to a
Anywho,
more receptive place.
really, he is. I have a lot of opinions on Alex Jones,
We'll have
and
to
that's
talk
just a
about that
very
here
controversial hot button. Yeah,
if
I'm
you want
willing. I'm
to.
willing to talk more about. Yeah, I'm more than willing. I'm pretty open book. But
Finish what you're
anyways,
saying now, though. I don't want to segue
yeah,
us right away.
I'm not, yeah, I'm not good at that at all. So yeah, I told my mom that, and I'm just sitting there watching this, and within days, the Boog stuff started kind of filtering in. I saw the progression of it hit the Facebook, and next thing I know, I'm in the 52nd. I ended up in the 52nd Penguin platoon out of a complete blackout drunk. I just literally woke up, I'm like, well, I'm in this,
Well, I'm
and this looks
here.
cool.
Oh
And
God.
Cuomo Tupperware sex dungeon, I'm in. And I guess that was that. And it just escalated from there. Obviously, you started meeting people, and it was really, I guess, the first time my extreme anarchism was like, yeah, fuck the state, let's burn this down. And it's just, I guess, the rest is history, if you will. The rest is
Yeah,
history.
it's
So I'm here.
surprising. It's surprising from the sports thing. That's a first so far with everybody else. It's
Mm-hmm.
always been like, Duncan or, like, dude, I had one guy answer that it was getting a parking trick in the middle of getting a parking ticket. He had a fucking epiphany, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's so many different fucking ways that everybody like comes around and shit like that. I
Mm-hmm.
feel kind of left out because like I don't even fucking know what like I don't I think I always hated all of this, all of it.
I always have two. I just can look back and think of the
Like your
specific,
pivotal moments.
yeah, and I don't have many of them because I'm generally like what you said. And so to have two of those within, I mean, 46
Yeah.
days or something like that of my life at 25 years old at the time, that is just, I don't have that very often. And it is severe and it's impactful. And I guess it just started a momentum that I can't stop at this point. I'm just too angry. I'm too bitter. I'm too disenfranchised. We are the generation of the big sad. This is
Yeah.
my tagline I love to say. Call me a verbose fuck if you want, but we were born into the corpse of a dying society. Stench, we could smell the stench on our nostrils, just suffocating us. Yeah, we were given a participation trophy just to showing the fuck up, only to find out it
Yeah.
was our own mortal damnation. And that is our life, especially mine, being born in 94. My friend made this really good point. He goes, we don't remember living in a balanced budget. We don't remember any of the pomp and circumstance that made all of this all right with the Reagan baby era. Uh, uh, and more than anything, we live in a country that has always been at war for something that most of us don't even remember. I barely remember the trade centers. I was in the first grade. I remember watching in Mrs. Eborn's class, wondering why mom's crying. I was one of the only kids even watching the goddamn thing. Me and my twin brother were literally the only ones even paying attention. Everybody else was, sticking crayons up their nose. And you get younger than me, and people really don't remember it. Like my
Yeah.
sister, next closest to me, wasn't even 2 at the time, and she turned 2 weeks later. Uh, and now she can legally drink. Like,
Oh God.
yeah, right. Guys, tomorrow, people born in 2000 can buy beer. Fucking
Oh Jesus
hell.
Christ. That
Tomorrow.
2000 was like the year I was supposed to fucking graduate.
Holy shit, you're old.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. People say that a lot.
Yeah, I just turned 38, and for a year, I didn't know. Like, I thought I was 36, but I was
I
actually
saw,
37. I pay so little
I
attention to
saw,
this shit. But, like, so,
oh, I saw that. That was funny.
oh,
So yeah,
yeah,
where I'm
yeah.
at, and yeah, yeah.
What were you saying? Where I'm at? What?
I don't know. Oh, and I
You
was just
lost track
wrapping
of
up my
what you were
point.
gonna
Yeah,
say.
and I'm at 6:15. I do that a lot, and I'm sober, sadly enough. In 5 hours and 45 minutes, people born in 2000 can buy beer where I'm at in Mountain Time. That is horrifying. And none of them remember why we were in a country that has always been at war. That's my point.
Yeah. Um,
We're a very sad generation.
fuck, man. It is what it fucking has become and what we've allowed it to become and shit. Um, I know
Well,
that,
that's the
like,
problem is, yeah.
I mean, like, and we've got it all turned against us and shit like that. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
is fucking afraid of each other and shit like that. And, like, it really
Mm-hmm.
does look like they're trying to push us towards a civil war, which, in
Yeah.
case you're new to this, we don't fucking want.
No,
Like,
we don't want. Is this how you want the reign of terror? Because this is how you get the reign of terror. And the reign
yeah.
of terror was not particularly nice to look at. I am gracing you guys with going off camera, so you're welcome. For those of you that have been watching, you are welcome. For the all six of you, because I need to go smoke. Hashtag RJ Reynolds.
Hey,
But
you smoke all you need to smoke.
no, I mean you're completely correct. They are pushing us towards this accelerationist brother on brother crime. Brother, and that's the funny thing too is in the interim it is brother on brother crime. They're not pushing anything that would. I mean, clearly, why would the state push us to go against them? But that just seems obvious, right?
Uh-huh.
But
Well, they've got to have something in between them and us.
mhm,
And
perfect deflection.
in my opinion, they're trying to, like, they're trying to put our fellows that maybe aren't as aware of it
Mhm.
against each other in between us and them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because they're basically using us as goons for their authority, really. I mean, when you sit there and attack brother on brother crime and all that, when it becomes a brother on brother war, you are you're basically allowing yourself to just be the same enforcement of authority for the state that any cop is, whether you want to admit
Yeah.
it or not. If you were accelerating a civil war, you were just as much an arm of the authority of the state as any police officer that you want to bitch about. And that might sound harsh because I'm comparing you to the people that killed Duncan Lepp and the people that killed Breonna Taylor. I don't give a fuck. You are doing the same acceleration-est actions that they are. And it's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. But that's the name of the game.
I mean, I'm not particularly nice about it either. Earlier today, I was like telling people every time we let this happen, it's our fault. This is our fault.
Mhm.
We let this happen. And because tyrants will only do what you allow them to fucking do.
And
And we've allowed them to do so much. Um, it's amazing to try and think about how the fuck we're gonna walk that shit back. Like, I
well, part of the
personally
problem
don't
too.
believe that we
No,
can walk it back, not the way, not through government, at least not through traditional means.
oh,
And I'm
sorry.
not calling for violence or anything like that. I'm not.
No,
I
no, we
know
can't.
that, like, people consider, like, well, if you
No,
can't use the government, are you going to use a gun? And I'm like, well, if they make me, like, I'll only do things in defense. But before that, there's so many things that we can do. Like, I
yeah.
love agorism, and some people say
I
it's
mean,
not enough, but it's their lifeblood. The white market
well,
is their
agorism
lifeblood.
is. Uh, it is. Agorism works when you take out the hyper peaceful element because you can't be pacifist, right? Pacifists are just weak. I don't want that, but sometimes I think people confuse the two. Look, I'm not saying to
Well, yeah,
combine the two,
pacifism is technically
or
its own thing.
yeah, I
But
know, but a lot of people can't not
meek
combine the two.
agorists are the kind of people, in my opinion, that are like, well, I would do this, but they're gonna come after me if I do. And I'm like, what the
Perhaps.
fuck? You're not even allowed to fucking gather reign without them threatening to come after you,
No,
you're not going to do
no.
anything.
So my big thing that I've been talking about this is you see me do it in chats, and we can get into it more later. Just I want to bring it up now while we're on the subject is the singing revolution and all that. That is something I'd
Yeah.
like to talk about.
Speaking of Les
Basically,
Mis,
it's remember, can you hear the people sing? It's like V for Vendetta meets Les Mis. That's what I want to see right now. As romantic and delusions of grandeur as that may sound, I don't really give a fuck at this point. But
well, I'm not gonna
um,
lie. I've seen plenty of protests recently where people were like actually singing. Do you hear the people?
yeah,
Can you hear the people sing? And like that shit fucking puts chills up my fucking everything. I'm
it's
just like,
powerful,
oh,
dude. Oh, it
it
so is. I
is.
listen to that. I listen to the song, and if you can find it with the reprise at the end, where they end the show, right? And for the record, the 10th anniversary concert of Les Mis is the best way to go, because it's not the actual play; it's just them in concert, and that's the route to go. In case you want to listen to Les Mis, that's the soundtrack you want to do. Just
I
random,
guess I
useless
like
information.
the original London cast myself.
Oh, I'm a 10th anniversary guy, which most of it is the original cast, so I'm all right with that. But
Hate the
uh,
movies. Don't even bother.
oh God, dude, oh the auto tune of Russell Crowe. Oh my God, oh you're giving me PTSD right now, brother.
Sorry. I'm giving myself a little PTSD too from that
As
shit.
a
So
musician myself,
horrible.
I'm just like crawling into my skin.
I remember being
Mm,
so excited about it, and then when it happened, I was
oh, I
just
know.
sitting there like I was
I
visibly angry.
Dude, I was so excited for it and I hated it, but I had to pretend to love it because my girlfriend loved it. And I watched that
Oh
movie in the
God.
theaters 9 times. 9 goddamn times I watched that movie. And mind you, I'm like
Oh,
sneaking. So, because Mormon, like,
the
I'm having
shit
to
you do
hide
for
all this.
love.
Oh my God. I watched that movie 9 times in theater, full price. I didn't even, that was before it went in the cheap theater. 9 times, full price, $11 a ticket. I spent and I paid for every single fucking one. Shit drives me crazy. Never forgive her for that.
So, like, what are you talking about here?
Mm,
You want people to do flash mobs and shit, or? I mean, I think that sounds
not
fucking
necessarily. So
amazing.
I guess it does in the interim. It's all a process and a movement. A momentum, I guess, if you will. So I guess is now the right time to get into what the singing revolution is and what it was.
Yeah. Start with what it was and go into
So
what you'd like it to
yeah,
be now.
for us, yeah. So where it's relevant. So the singing revolution is an actual thing. And generally speaking, it refers to the events from 87-91 that happened in the Baltic states, originating in Estonia, which I think is Tbilisi, the capital of Estonia. And you have Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania there, top to bottom. And
I'm really bad at geometry, so I'm not sure.
you're really bad at geometry.
Yeah, it's an inside joke.
Okay. Another new thing about me, I won the state geography bee for Idaho when I was 12.
I've always been
Gotta
bad
meet.
at it. I can read a topography map, but
Oh,
I can't fucking tell you where the countries are.
I
I mean,
got to
I'm
meet
better at it
Alphabet. That was
now.
cool. Oh, I've always been an obsessed nerd. I wonder why I don't get laid. I'm a total incel. That's why. Uh, Bad joke. All my jokes are bad
Oh
though.
God. There we go. We're gonna
MAGTOW,
have people.
MAGTOW. Everybody leaves.
Listen now,
I'm not.
all booger incels. You saw it here. Oh God,
all,
no.
all the Boogaloo's incel. There's your dirty joke. It's just a front for MAGTOW this entire time. We're just a ton of male feminists.
Yes, that's
No,
exactly what it is. No.
it's not it at
But
all what I
seriously,
am.
so like,
So, in all seriousness, so the singing revolution. Uh, it started. It was. Let's see if I remember the history. Basically, Estonia had a ton of stuff. I think it was phosphate in the northeast regions of it. And the Soviets basically came in and said, "We're going to mine this, and we're going to give you jobs, and we're going to help you out." And then it turned out that wasn't the case at all. It was bureaucracy at its finest, like what we're seeing now. It all went to the Soviet, people with plugs into the Soviet party back in the homeland, and people were pissed, and it started this thing. And they've always had this I think it's like every 10 years or 5 years, this event, this tradition, and it lined up, and basically they made it happen, and they started doing these human chains and these big events, and they started writing these songs for the movement, what their movement was. And a lot of it was patriotic, in a sense, because their patriotism is a little bit different than ours would be. There was patriotically like, we're Estonia, we're no longer USSR, so that's a little bit different than our situation is, just to clarify. But they were these what you would call patriotic homeland territory songs, and it just started building this momentum, and it grew and it grew, and it spread in the Baltic states, down into Riga and Latvia and Lithuania, and Ljubljana, I believe, is the capital there. And all of this. So what?
I was like, your guess is as good as mine. I can't fucking figure out how to say it either.
It's Riga, Tbilisi. No, God damn it, I was wrong. Tbilisi is the capital of Georgia. I've been wrong this entire time. Fuck.
Oh, for God's sake.
Everything I say is wrong now. I just doxed myself.
That's
Cancel
it.
me.
Everything you said
canceled.
Is wrong. Yeah, you're canceled.
I'm canceled. Shit. Now I have to go sit on the bench with. Now I'm riding the pine with Louis C.K. Fucking hell. So. Anyways, so this all momentum builds, and it's happening at the same time that Gorbachev does Glasnost, which was the transparent government, which was more, I don't want to say democratic, but it was more egalitarian and promoting more freedom, if you will, in the close Soviet government could get in the 60 years of rule. And basically they went hand in hand. So these protests were no longer something that you would be caught and shot for at the Ministry of Love, if you want to say, but and it just grew and grew. And long story short, it ended up being this grassroots movement. And what they did in August of 91 was they formed this human chain that went literally from the capital of Estonia to the capital of Latvia or Lithuania, whichever one's in the south. I want to say Lithuania now. And they I think it's like one of the.
Uh-oh. You still there? Shit. Well, give us just a second. We're having technical difficulties. While he's trying to get back set up, I'm gonna freaking look this up.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wait, you're back. Welcome back. I think.
I'm back.
You're
Sorry,
back.
did I fall off? Okay.
You did.
My apologies. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool.
Okay. So where did I was just still going on and on and on like a dumb fuck.
Shit.
Where did I cut off at?
You were saying, oh Jesus Christ! You had just finished saying that they were they were arms from place to place, and then I was like, wow, and you had started to go on from there, and then you cut out.
Okay, so like Glasnost. So you have Glasnost. Sorry to repeat myself if I am, but Glasnost loosens Gorbachev's Glasnost, gives a lot more social freedoms and ability to protest. People take advantage of that and ends up with this human chain from the capital of Estonia to the capital of Lithuania. They held it for 15, 20 minutes. And it did more to illegitimize and deconstruct the authority and the power of the state, that being the Soviet Union, after what was like 10 or 12 failed insurrections throughout the Soviet bloc. And, you have directly related to the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the general fall of the Soviet authoritarian regime itself. And that's the history of the Singing Revolution, right? So this was 29 years ago. So where it comes to us, prescient to us, is, and this idea was raised to me by, who it was. I won't name drop them, but it raised it. Basically, you have the DC Parkway, the Beltway, the essential artery and lifeblood of traffic in DC, the monster that it is, the Soviet Republic that it is. And the idea is to form a human chain on the DC Beltway. um, to have the singing revolution take place right in front of the tyrants themselves. And this is a lot of people. It's like 170,000 people it would take to complete that. Um,
Wow.
and you're having busing, you're having food brought in, you're having to pay for food, you having to organize the water. And I know that's a bitch. I've organized the food and waters at protests before, and it's a bitch to do it for. I was involved with the Juneteenth here in Salt Lake, not intimately, but just helping, do the organizations for water is massive when you have 5,000 people, much less 170,000 people coming to DC.
Right.
Uh, it's a bitch and a half. We're talking millions of dollars, all this sorts of shit. So I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or overnight or within the next year, but
Right.
to tone it down a bit, you could have things in the interim. And do we decide to celebrate the revolution or the anniversary of the singing revolution itself? I don't know. Or do we pick a date? I don't know. But you can do things in the interim. So I don't know what we do this year. And again, this is all just throwing out. I'm just throwing this out. If you got 100 people at each state capital, that's 5,000 people nationwide. Like, that's no
Hmm.
small feat, even though that seems small and petty on each state level. That's 5,000 people statewide. Maybe you get another 1,000 at DC itself. You have 6,000 people right there. And it just builds from there. It is all grassroots. There's no organization. There's no hierarchy. There might be people who take leadership roles because they're having to, do communications. You're having to do organizations. You're having to procure resources, all this. I get that. But there would be no hierarchy. We would just be a ton of motherfuckers getting in and screaming, remember,
Getting together.
remember, do you hear the people sing?
I think that would be amazing. And I hope that in the near future we'll be able to fucking do some shit like that on a
Yeah.
large scale. I'm totally down for doing it on smaller scales too. I mean, like, we got to build up just from somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, but that's gonna take more than just the boog.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's people outside of the book I've been talking about with the most, and frankly have been the most receptive. Because you can't do it outside of the book. You need more people than that. And you can't do the momentum. Because 1 year might be the building momentum. Um, and I tell you, this is a good segue into unity.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning with it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. So I guess you want to tell me what your thoughts are on the unity so that people know and where we can coalesce on.
Well, I mean, if they've been following the show for a while, they
Yeah,
probably have the
of
idea
course.
that the Mad Liberty Project, which is the whole thing, not just the show, but
Yeah.
all of this, was built originally to bring people to to fight the narrative and to bring people together across the table, which is one of the reasons why we have such a varied amount, like, types of people who come to the table on Monday nights to talk about the
Mm-hmm.
news and shit like that. And obviously they're in and out during the week when I'm doing stuff. If they're around when I'm doing an episode, they'll pop in and give their 2 cents and shit like that.
Yeah.
But like, we try to have people from as far as like the, I hate to use the fucking um compass, but we're gonna use
Yeah.
it right now because it's convenient. We have
Mm-hmm.
people from the corners of purple to the corners of green, and like, which is ANCAP to ANCOM and everything
Yeah.
in between, coming together.
Absolutely.
And like, our vaguely or minorly statist minarchist friends come in and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
we've always been incredible. It's less of an interested in unity and more in a disinterest in what divides us.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
It's a bunch of children bouncing here. Am I able to flip around the camera?
Yes.
Look.
Oh
Oh,
shit. It's dark as
bunch of
fuck.
kids having fun. Love that shit. Oh, is it too dark? Is it too dark?
I
I've
love
got
the sound of
looks like about
children.
7 kids just jumping on the trampoline out back here.
Oh God, that's nice. Children's laughter, that's something that we might lose if we're not careful. And it's a
Are you
boon
there?
to everyone. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like,
I can't smoke in
ours
front of
was
the
less of
children.
a ours was less of an interest in unity and a disinterest in the things that are,
Yeah.
dividing us. It all seemed arbitrary
Mhm.
to us, and just like the narrative, we
Yeah.
wanted to push back against it. So like, it's not about people coming together and mixing their ideas together. It's not about cramming everybody into the same fucking group and making them coexist in the same place, because that's silly. It's kind of like, I don't believe in um Unitarianism, because not all
Mm.
religions are copacetic. Just like that, not all anarchists are gonna want to live in the same fucking yard as each other. It's not
No,
about that.
no.
It's about putting aside our arbitrary differences that will never matter until we get what's, like, they're taking away what's left of our liberties now. And if we
Hmm.
don't take them back, it will never matter. And I personally believe that by the time we get rid of the things that are taking our liberties, the arguments that we have will still be arbitrary, because there will be no one to enforce them upon everyone.
Yeah, yeah. If we're on that voluntary understanding that, okay, you do you, I do me, take what works for
Yeah.
you and disregard the rest. I mean, when you say you're against Unitarianism, of course, because unity for unity's sake is merely conformity. It is
Yeah.
merely, it is merely a basic tyrant reaction, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I don't want that. I want unity to be the idea that so many of our issues are irrelevant and so many of our issues are not meaningless but hypothetical at best, and that when in real action it really wouldn't matter. And if some crazy motherfucker wants to go do his little ANCOM hippie commune out in the middle of goddamn Oregon, let him do it. I want nothing to do with it by and large, unless they like have good weed or something. But I don't want to be involved with something that can't promote the voluntary action.
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
is that
yeah, because if
voluntarism and
we
that
put down that voluntary interaction, that voluntary association, then we aren't anarchists anymore.
no.
We're not even really
And
minarchists at that point.
well, no, we're authoritarian cucks.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, I'm back. But all right, give me a second
We
here.
seem to kind of be on the same page when it comes to unity, which is probably one of the reasons why we kick it off so easily,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my opinion.
absolutely. And the thing is that there are a lot of people with these ideals. It's just being able to find the people who can vocalize them. And that's tough because there's a lot of not partisan as in politics, red versus blue or right versus left, but just partisan as in people are very attached to their ideals and attached to what they have going on in their head. And that's great. I want to hear what they have, but we can't, nothing can supersede what the other person says, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to voluntarily enter that. I'm not going to voluntarily enter into what is essentially another version of the state. And I'm not going to allow myself to. And that's the idea of unity, is basically
Yeah.
like giving ourselves a sphere, a forum to not enter into something that is another version of the state. Oh, I'm back. Sorry, guys. You have to look at me again. Like a giraffe with Down
Oh
syndrome. Fuck the turtle.
no. God. We're
I'm like a poor.
definitely canceled now.
Oh fuck, dude. I'm like a poor man's version of Mitch McConnell.
Jesus Christ.
Even I look better than Mitch McConnell. Even my lack of
Uh,
self esteem can say that.
Mitch McConnell is he's a fucking
Bloodthirsty
insult
parasite.
to all turtles everywhere.
I like turtles. Why did Mitch
I
McConnell make me
love
have to take
turtles.
turtles? Anybody who likes me must like turtles because I look like one. But
Don't
he
hate the
just,
turtles. Just
uh,
sympathize with them for
I'm at
having to
least,
look like Mitch.
I'm at least a good looking turtle human. He's a bad looking turtle human.
He's a pretty bad looking turtle human.
Hey everybody, we all know Mitch McConnell's office number. Get drunk on New Year's Eve and call it.
Yeah,
Come to action.
hey, I,
Unite.
I approve of that. I approve of that. Fucking swarm him all goddamn night.
Go to his office with a case of twisted tea and just have the fuck at it. Oh man, we started 2020 just So excited for flapper girls and speakeasies. We got our
I
speakeasies,
know.
ironically enough, but now we're
Yeah,
just
we
ending
did.
it. But now we're just ending it obsessed with beating Mitch McConnell to death with twisted tea. Like this is the complete decline of Western civilization. It's the fall of Rome now with Wi-Fi. What the
I
fuck?
mean, to be fair, beating Mitch McConnell to death with twisted tea isn't a terrible thing to be obsessed with.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to show the bulge in my pants just thinking about it.
My fucking, I was like, I wonder what's going on in the news today, and I looked, and the first thing I saw was that they dropped the charges against the people who murdered Duncan, and then I just closed the news.
Uh,
I just closed it. I was like, no more. This is enough. No. I don't even know if anything else happened today. There could have been like, people could have crashed their airplanes all over the United States, and I would not know.
Honestly,
I
dude, at
just,
this point, I don't follow the news, and I hate being that guy. I hate it. I get all my news from social media, and then obviously I expand from there. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, and then I'll go look into it more. But all the links I click on are from social media. I don't go to mainstream media. I just can't anymore. But at this point, dude, the apocalypse could straight up happen, and I wouldn't have a goddamn clue. I
well, I mean,
wouldn't know the difference.
typically I have to because like I want to know what the fuck they're telling people so I can go
Yeah,
talk to them and I know what they've been told so like I'm prepared for it because like I used to not do that and then when I went out there to
yeah,
talk to people I was like, "What?
yeah.
Uh where the fuck did you hear that?"
Oh
you
man,
know?
I just can't do it. It eats my soul away. I
Oh,
just
it really
can't
does.
do it.
Like
I can't do
when
it.
we
Like
first
social.
started, we were watching Young Turks to try and see what they were doing. I can't do that. Like
Oh,
I quit. Like
I
that
mean,
shit made me literally drink. Like I'm
I can.
not kidding, and I'm not a
It,
drinker.
I'm
So
not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie though. If Anna Kasparian is on mute, I could do that. Really, like for like ever.
see, I don't fucking get that shit. Like a lot of guys are like,
Even with the
well,
note,
if we gagged this hot looking
dude.
sadist chick, I could have sex with her. And I'm just like,
Why
I
did you
couldn't
have to?
because like
Why did you
I
have to
would, it
make
would
it?
be in the back of my head, like
Why did you
the
have to make
things
it
they've said.
non-consensual? Oh
Well, I
man,
mean, she
no, dude.
could consent to a gag. I mean, BDSM, it's all about consent.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but like
Let's just not talk about my sexual proclivities, but,
it would worm into the back of my head while I was at it, and I
dude,
would just have to stop and start yelling at. Are you fucking kidding me?
you're a better man than me. You're better than man than me, dude. I am in love with AOC, like physical, like,
Oh,
dude. I am like that's my dirty secret, dude. Straight up, like I would, I would, I would not mind seeing AOC just naked, and I would not mind. I would
well,
not
okay.
mind.
There is one statist that I could get over, and that's Tulsi. Tulsi Gabbard.
Dude, Tulsi, I love Tulsi so much.
And
Dude,
I mean, I disagree
I
with the
totally
shit that she says, but like she's she's she doesn't bow. Like she
I
keeps
think her
her
heart's in the
shit.
right. I think she's very integrated into the system, but her heart's in the right place. And Amash would be the other one. Like an Amash Gabbard ticket, don't care who's on top or bottom. Dude, Amash and Gabbard
What
are
about
literally
Massey?
uh, his relation to Rand Paul just I don't know.
Oh, I hate Rand
He
Paul. He's
doesn't
such
come
a
down.
cocksucker.
You know who loves Rand Paul? Libertus. Libertus loves Rand Paul. She knew I would say this too. She loves Rand Paul. She actually has a poster of Rand Paul and AOC in her bedroom. She
Oh
showed it to me.
God.
She showed it to me, dude. She
No.
kisses AOC and Rand Paul goodnight every night.
Oh God. Oh God.
You're welcome, Libertus.
That hurts me.
Hi.
That hurts me so much. Oh Jesus
Dude,
Christ. Just
if Libertus thought I
cannot
wasn't
be
gonna totally talk
unseen.
shit on her, she thought I could go 45 minutes without talking shit on her. She is sorely mistaken.
Christ almighty.
Sorry. Don't close your door on me when I come
So,
visit.
out of curiosity, what's your we'll start with favorite. We'll start with the positive. What's your favorite part about trying to get people to fucking swallow the unity pill?
My favorite part is seeing people realize that they didn't really have much difference after all.
And what's your least favorite part?
seeing people try and still decide that they actually have to have difference after all.
Fair. That's my least favorite part is the whole trying to do work between ANCOMs and ANCAPs because they're the most stubborn about it, in my
And
opinion.
yeah,
I love my ANCAP and ANCOM friends,
I mean,
but
you're talking
like,
to one. You're talking to an
yeah,
egoist and cap. I am like just the biggest cunt in the entire sphere. An egoist and cap. I just nobody likes me, which is fine because I really don't
I
like
mean, you're
anybody
not the
either.
only egoist ANCAP that I like to chat with and shit like that. But I mean, I think that I kind of like gather assholes around me. I prefer
Yeah,
assholes to people who are fucking nice all the time.
being polite is nothing more than a socially acceptable way to lie to people.
Well, yeah, that's what I say. Like, I get suspicious. I'm like, come on now. You gotta have some. I can see it in your fucking eyes. What?
Yeah,
Just yell it. Just yell it. Let it out. Let me
just
know.
scream, just scream, fuck the state, and you might actually jizz your pants because it feels so good.
It does fucking feel good. Like,
It does. That's actually what I say every time I come. I just say fuck the state. I'm definitely
okay.
not going to let my Mormon father listen to this episode.
Oh, gee,
That's
yeah,
gone out the
no.
window.
I gotta ask about that though. Like, how does this mesh with being like? Are you actually Mormon or did you just
No,
grow
no.
up Mormon?
I grew up Mormon and I was a staunch atheist. I grew up Mormon, but I went staunch atheist at 14. It's only been within the last year I found my faith
When you
again.
took the anarchist pill, or was it not
Yeah,
related?
not related, no, but they went hand in hand. Um, so I was raised LDS. Went on a church. I had a mission call and everything. My parents actually don't know about that. Um, I had a mission called to Tokyo, Japan. I was diddling with it still at 18, but I never really believed it. So anyway, I threw it off the back, completely disavowed it at 18 and vocally became a staunch anarchist. Religiously now, I'm Christian now, but it's definitely been a path as far as that's concerned. It's the one thing I'm actually kind of private about, but I don't mind talking about
Oh,
it.
well,
I
I
don't
mean,
mind
like
talking about
you
it. It's just
are
the one thing
allowed
I
to
don't
be
talk
like
about
none of
much.
your business. It's
No,
just
it's not
it's
one
a
of
thing
those.
that I get really curious about
Yeah,
religion and anarchists,
yeah,
especially since like I started meeting here. We have a
hmm
lot of Christian anarchists here.
yeah.
Like
And
they
so,
just come out of the fucking walls everywhere.
and see, I love it, and that's where I really have found myself and found really finally grown into myself is finding my faith again in Christ. No, it's not something I'll tell you to shut the fuck up about. It's just not something I go on about ad nauseum because to me that feels like what I grew up with, right? The Mormonism, the just suffocating proselytizing bullshit. It's just something I keep close to the vest just for other people's sake because you know what? I was an asshole atheist. I don't want to be the asshole Christian
Oh
either.
God, were you a militant atheist? I fucking hate those guys. Like I
Oh
argue with them.
boy.
I can't
Oh
not
boy.
argue.
I was, oh, you believe in something? I'm gonna hit you over the head with Richard Dawkins. And it was bad. It was
I even when I was dabbling with agnosticism and atheism myself for a little while
yeah,
there, I was like, leave them alone. Like, if you can believe in
yeah.
something, then if somebody believes in something, stop crushing their fucking dreams,
Oh,
y'all.
dude, I was a Christopher Hitchens zealot. I was just as religious in my atheism as. It's funny. I am really not a religious Christian in a lot of senses, but goddamn it, was I a religious atheist.
Oof.
And so yeah, it's been one hell of a switch, but it's really difficult, honestly, to leave something like the Mormon Church and a lot of its issues and come back into the fray of anything that believes in anything because it erodes so much of your ability to believe in things, and it's taken a lot of years to come back to that. Mormonism's interesting still because it's like totally boog. I mean, the anti-government, it runs deep to the core of where I'm from. So, I mean, backstory
Well,
on
yeah,
me,
and
I guess.
even in the liberty movement, I've run into Mormons here in the
Oh
liberty
yeah,
movement.
so yeah, I mean, despite all the issues of Joseph Smith and pedophilia and plural wives and all of that, um, I mean, when you really think about it, the Mormon Church, the LDS Church, is the only true secession of this country. A lot of people don't know that because when the LDS Church left for Utah, it was Mexican territory at the time, and that anti-government feeling runs deep, and it always has. So I'm from Pocatello, Idaho. That's where I'm at right now. Chubbuck, technically, it's just outside of it, but southern Idaho. I'm about 2.5 hours north of Salt Lake City, and this is Mormon country. This is all from Idaho Falls down to Salt Lake. That is Mormon country. Idaho Falls down in the south of Provo, and it runs deep. That anti-government culture, it's always stayed with the culture. And make no doubt about it, the state will come after the Mormon Church. And not, I mean, being Mormon is an enemy of the state in a lot of senses because it's very insistent upon the voluntary um, actions. I mean, the Mormon Church has a lot of its faults, both
Well, and they
theological
still
and
cling to
morally, in
their
my opinion.
community and being
They cling to the
sufficient
community,
and
self-sufficiency, and it's very insistent upon its more. I mean, there's some issues if you want to get into the dogma and the afterlife and stuff, but mortally here on earth, it is very. They have this idea called free agency, and really what it is, it's really insisting upon the voluntary action. And the LDS Church has its money hungry fucks, but the one thing you can't hold against them is that it will never seek to be. It would never seek to be a state. And I always thought that. It was always one grudge I held against them, that they would seek to be the state. And they are definitely overrepresented in the Utah legislature and the Utah government. But
I've heard that.
yeah, make no doubt about it. But it's men with special interests. It's not the Mormon church and it's not the Mormon movement, if you want to call it that. The Mormon movement, by and large, you'll have your assholes and your xenophobes, but especially with these newer generations, it is a culture largely based on voluntary action. And what goes in hand with that is that they voluntarily will still support the community, whether you're outside of the church or not. You'll still have your cunts who'll be like, you're going to hell because you drink coffee. Yeah, Mormons don't drink coffee, just so y'all know.
Yeah,
Um,
no beverages steeped of the earth, right?
no hot beverages seep to the earth.
That.
Caffeinated drinks, basically, yeah. So like this
Although
Mountain
there's
Dew
a
is kind of a
fight
gray area.
over I was like there's kind of a fight over the sodas. I had some friends that were going to like what's the college the one
BYU,
that's like
BYU.
BYU when they were having the big soda or no
Hmm.
soda thing.
Yeah, that's only been within the last few years. And I mean, you still can't grow facial hair as a dude. So yeah, there's a lot of orthodoxy in it, but like them or not, the culture by and large is voluntarist at its core, and it is very anarchistic. Like it really is. Because if you choose to join the LDS Church, you live by their rigid standards, but they're not forced. They don't tell you to live by their standards. They might, in our current system, they might get laws on the books that are restraining of like, it's only been within the last 2 years we've had full strength beer, or they have down there technically because I'm not there right now. But um, as you know, there are those oddities. The medical marijuana bill was completely imploded. Prop 2 was a disaster, and there are influences with the state, with the government, the local government there in Utah. Make no doubt about it. But by and large, say you erase the state tomorrow, erase the Utah government, Capitol Hill burns down on State Street just to the ground, and they would tell you like, hey, we might have this land here. If you want to live on it, you have to abide by our rules. So you probably wouldn't watch porn or drink alcohol or any other rules.
At least not where
But
anybody could see you.
yeah, but by and large, say you're in that community as a whole and you owned your house. My house, my apartment on Second Avenue, M Street, my old one. If I lived there, the Mormon Church wouldn't tell me I couldn't go buy beer and bring it home. If suddenly the state went away. Um, so there's a lot of cool stuff with that. It's a dogmatic dumpster fire, but god damn it, as a community and a culture, it is pretty fucking rad. And the conversations I've had with people I grew up with and Mormons I still know in my personal life, I mean, dude, I talk to them and they're immediately like, yeah, I get it. Like my father is like really just a lifelong minarchist without knowing it, and just to be that way naturally as a Reagan baby is appalling. It's
Oh yeah.
eh,
Holy cow.
in the best possible way. And my mother is the statist compared to him, and she is no fan of the government. My mother compared to my father is, a complete statist, and she to most people would be a right-leaning hard libertarian. So yeah, it's an interesting culture, and I really have
It
come to
is.
value coming from it. And for the positive aspects, it's taken me years to forget the negative ones, but I love the positive ones.
I personally, I find it really interesting how many, like, not always, like, even Christianity, like, I find it really interesting how people, I guess, bring their, come to terms with their religion and anarchism, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting how it meshes and stuff like that. It's way
Hmm.
more chill too at that point because like you're not gonna
Hmm.
force your beliefs on people or anything like that because
No.
you're an anarchist and shit. Creates some really interesting conversations if you ask me. I'm
Yeah.
terrible at it because I'm an eclectic, so like I
So,
can jive with so much shit.
oh no, 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 I can too. Like, if you want to go scream "Hail Satan" in front of me, I'm like, cool. Let's throw on some Marilyn Manson. I don't give a fuck. Um, I'm still eclectic in that nature, but I believe in what I believe in, and I have my moral code, and it's never really changed. I've just found I've started to grow into myself and find what I can come to grips with as far as that's concerned. If any of y'all read or want a good book as far as Christian anarchy goes, a good starting point would be it's a book called The Shack. I'll just prop it up there. Can't remember the
The
dude's
what?
name who wrote it. It's called The Shack.
The shack.
Yeah, it's about
I'll
a
try
dude
and
who's
find a link to it or something, but
yeah, it's about a dude whose daughter is basically murdered, kidnapped and murdered, and him coming to grips with his faith and all that. And it's a fascinating read. And then it also has like it's a good spot to also find further readings on the ideas because it every chapter starts with a different quote. And you start realizing it's a ton of anarchist Christian types. Like literally one book is one of the quotes is from a book called Anarchism and Christianity or something like that. And yeah, anyways, that would be a really good read if that's something you would be curious in, whether you believe it or not, just if it's something that piques your interest.
just a little
That would be
treat people who are interested in that. Like I
yeah.
am surprised at how many Christian anarchists have like floated into my community alone. Like
Yeah.
I'm like and it seems more and more and more as days go by.
Mhm.
Like earlier on in the community's birth, we didn't really have very many of those. We had some curious people and stuff, but then the next thing you know, people started. One person says they're a Christian anarchist, and all the other ones are like, "Oh
Well,
shit, I can talk about that."
pretty much because like the two sides of it, one is oftentimes views religion as the church, as the state, in the
Well,
classical
yeah,
sense,
there's the people that
especially
pop in and they're like, "Oh, but they said that you have to believe, you have to follow God, man's
well,
law."
yeah, because we have the two, yeah, and then you have the Romans 13 cucks, um, who come in and are like, yeah, you know, yeah, fuck the state, but Romans 13 tells me to pay taxes, so I'm just gonna be a bitch for the state. And you're just like, God damn it, that Christian right is so close yet so fucking far, and they get right there to the edge. They really do. And then they're just like, oh, never mind. We're going to fly Blue Lives Matter because we worship the authority of the state, and the authority of the state now supersedes us. And I guess no king but Christ. Yeah, fuck that. We're just going to decide
Oh,
we are becoming fascist. And if you tell us we are, we're going to block you and kick you out of our church. But we fly the Blue Lives Matter flag, which is blatant fascism. And it's just like,
I
God
like
damn it,
to
fuck
ask
you all.
him, I'm like, for following this, like whole man's law shit, Jesus sure
Mm-hmm.
did break man's law all the goddamn time. Like,
Jesus was just,
eh,
well, Jesus was two things. He was a goddamn anarchist, and he was also not a Christian. So always remember that.
well,
Jesus was
that's
no
true
Christian.
technically because he couldn't even be saved.
Yeah.
Like,
No, he's the one that saves us. It's his grace. But yeah, that's my general standpoint on it. No king but Christ. I need to go smoke, so I'm jumping back off. Y'all are welcome again.
so
Well, there we go.
like,
In and out, in and out, in and out.
oh
Can we do it?
God,
There we go. There we go.
there you
In and
go,
out,
there
in
you
and out,
go.
in and out.
Uh,
Giggity.
that's a really good place to eat.
Oh, I
Well, back
fucking
in the
love In and
day, it
Out.
used to be a good place to eat. I don't know
And
about now.
The In-N-Outs in
I used
Utah
to
are great.
live by the fucking original one,
Oh,
and that
really?
was the one
Yeah.
I ate at, and so like none of the others are quite the same.
Yeah, they're in, what is that? North Hollywood is where the original one is at? I can't remember.
No, it's in SoCal.
Is it? Well, yeah, I know it's in SoCal. North Hollywood would be in
Uh,
SoCal. I can't remember
no,
where the original one is at.
it was down by Long Beach and Huntington Beach
Oh, is
and
it
that
in Orange
area and
County?
shit. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
fucking. Well, I don't know if that's Orange County actually. I
Huntington
don't
Beach is
remember.
Orange County.
Look, y'all, I
Huntington.
was so fucking high in California. I'm not even sure. Like, I tell this story about doing acid and following ducks around town. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Oh,
not sure those ducks were real.
they
Like, to this day, I
probably
do
weren't.
not know.
Look, dude.
Like, there were real ducks, but I don't know if those ducks were real.
I,
They were like
I
our spirit quest ducks.
it's leave up the quick. I honestly, I lived in LA off and on my first 2 years out of high school. Bounced in and out.
California was awful.
And I'll care to imagine I saw a lot of shit that probably wasn't real. And what was real that I did see, I would much rather not see again. We'll just put it like that.
Dude, I feel the same way. California is fucking awful. Like, it was
Dude,
nice, but it
when
was
shit
also
go
awful.
no, when shit goes down, honestly, I'm gonna dress up as Ronald McDonald. I might dress up as Elmo actually, and just rain the hellfire of the unholy saint upon Hollywood.
Like, with the fire behind
Bird,
you.
I just want to. I just want to go full on revelations on fucking Hollywood, bro. Not even gonna lie. The shit that
I
happens there.
can't blame you. One of the things that helped to further radicalize me was studying the history of Hollywood. Jesus Christ Almighty, it's
Homie,
fucking awful.
the things you will, oh, the things you will see, oh, the things you will see. I remember a day in time. Uh, oh God.
Yeah, I don't want to
Um,
talk about Hollywood in itself because, like, you get one street of Hollywood, the way that
yeah,
everybody thinks it is, and then you get this fucking literal cesspool, like human cesspool.
cesspool is just
That's
satanic.
it's.
I mean,
I wouldn't
we'll
even
just
say
say
satanic. It's fucking like,
I
like
mean, it
fucking.
is.
It's fucking worse. Satanists would burn the
Yeah.
place because I
Well,
know
Lucifer, you
Satanists.
know what
They
I
would
mean.
burn the place.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
too. Shit, I have the Satanist Bible somewhere. But
they ain't cool with that
I
shit.
mean, I'll just I'll never forget the moment I had to save a girl from being date raped by Danny Masterson. So never forget that.
First time I ever saw somebody give head on the side of the street for drugs was in Hollywood.
Oh God. Oh God.
It was
I don't know, dude.
not
I come
attractive.
to bump shoulders with enough of those fucks. I would rather not do it again. So
Yeah.
yeah, fuck Danny
Next time I go back to
Masterson.
Hollywood, I'm gonna
Fuck
take
Kurt
a
Russell.
fucking
Kurt Russell.
flamethrower.
Oh God. I'll be right there with you. The reason why I hate Kurt Russell is a different reason though. He stiffed me. Stiffed me twice in Park City. I was delivering pizza during Sundance. And he
Son of a bitch,
it was a
he
$19 and
stiffed you on
81-cent
pizza.
order. Motherfucker, the first time he ordered with card and refused to sign, so he didn't tip me. The second time, 3 days later, I see Goldie Hawn or whoever he's married to in the back, and he hands me a 20 for a $19 and 81-cent order. It's the same order both times. So he tipped me
Fucking
19 cents
cheapskate.
on 2 orders. Fucking hell.
And
And the
he's
second
not
time he
a
opens the
foreigner,
door.
so he has no excuse.
Not a foreigner. He's been in Hollywood his entire life. He's a child actor. He
Like, I
opens
get
the
it if
door
a
with a
foreigner
cigar in his
doesn't tip
mouth
because
and
it's a weird
blows it.
thing we do.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can, but he opens the door. Opens the door, cigar in his mouth, and just blows it in my face and hands me a 20. I'm just like, thank you for your 19 cents, you elite overlord. Fuck.
19 cents and some cancer.
Well, I mean, I've been chain smoking this entire time. I can't hate him for the cancer, but there's that.
And, like, so, to be honest, like, I don't know how you feel about this, but, like, they're in it with the rest of everybody. Like, there's a fucking.
Oh yeah.
Do you believe in the literal cabal? Like, I don't think it's one group. I think it's multiple groups, personally. But it doesn't matter. Like, the top of the fucking food chain in this fucking corporativist nightmare, not capitalist, corporativist nightmare.
No, yes, very important distinction. Yes,
is like they're pulling the fucking strings. They're all
I don't know
partying
who it
together.
is,
They're growing up together. They're going to school together.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, you can
they
get in
teach
skull and
them
bones and
different
all that
things
shit.
than they teach us.
So as far as Hollywood is concerned, I find it really interesting. The dematerialization, or whatever you want, the making society so immature. I mean, you attack the. I mean, how do I phrase this? It is so sexual in nature, but it is also juvenile sexually, right? It's interesting to me that they take one of the most core aspects of humanity, which is our sexuality, and they have turned it into this juvenile thing. I mean, girls are no longer supposed to have womanly hips. Girls are no longer supposed to have a bust. And you have to see all these size zeros that are worshipped as goddesses. And I mean,
Well,
you watch
yeah, they
Victoria's
look
Secret
like
and you see these,
there's something.
you see the
I don't
one,
want to
I
body
mean,
shame, but they look like they're ill.
I don't want to body shame either, but having seen a Victoria's Secret model naked because she just really hated herself that night. Most women do when they get with me. It just tends to be a running theme. You do not. Sorry, now I'm just talking shit on myself and I'm doing it poorly. But um, sorry to any
Good
woman out there
God.
who's shamed themselves with my presence. Please turn the lights off because I will glow with my paleness. No, it's fascinating to see just when you get in the history of Hollywood, like how we've gone from Marilyn Monroe, who was curvy, and she was the goddess of the 50s Hollywood.
Yeah, like the
And
classic actresses of
like
old.
Vivian Leigh of, could you imagine somebody with Vivian Leigh's body from Gone with the Wind being an actress now? And I mean, you're seeing it more and more, and which is like beautiful to see the
I mean, we
uh
got people like Megan Trainor and shit like
Megan
that, but
Trainor.
like
I'm trying to
she's
think
kind
of
of
who is the
rare
gal
now,
who is the
you know?
gal in Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh fuck, I don't know.
I can't remember Bradley Cooper. Anyways, uh I it's just interesting that
The
they.
fact is that women like that are very rare now.
So my point is, to put a bow on, or at least make a point out of it, is it's fascinating to me. They attack the one of the most core aspects of humanity, and deliberately make it so juvenile, so immature, and just so undeveloped. And it just makes you wonder, what does that do to the psyche of society as a whole? And it just you end up with this undeveloped, stunted, frustrated, perverted, and I don't mean that sexually, just perverted sense of humanity. And of course, and no easier way to do it than attacking one of the cores of that humanity, or actually, frankly, the core. I mean, the two biggest drives for humanity are the desire for self-importance and our sex drive. So they take
Yeah.
the
And
the most intense drive that is humanity, and it's sex, and they completely bastardize it. I mean, porn is so just pushes to be younger and pushes to be so immature and so juvenile and just so stunted.
barely legal.
Yeah, it's no mistake, the nubile thing and all that. It's no mistake that they do that. So when you ask, do I believe in the cabal? Hollywood proves to me that in the cabal as a theory, yeah, of course I do. Of course I mean, I don't know how conspiratorial we want to get, but of course I'm New World Order, Agenda 21. I mean, Agenda 21 is real and terrifying, but not even getting conspiratorial, just watching the societal effects of this and just the complete damnation of meaningful society. It's just revolting and it's sickening.
And you talked about the other thing, like they've removed our capacity to be competitive. Like it's considered part of toxic masculinity and shit like that.
Oh, I
And
mean,
the first
yeah.
step was you mentioned it at the very beginning, and like it made me think because you're young enough that like you basically grew up in the in the era, like in the age where you got the participation trophies and shit.
Yeah.
Because like I
Yeah.
remember when they very first started that, and we were too old. When they gave us those things, we threw them the fuck away. Like we didn't want them because like people would beat you up over them and shit. It was like your loser
Well,
ribbon.
and the
And
participation
now
trophy.
it's
Yeah.
your right. Like if you don't get a participation trophy, people fucking freak out about it. And I still view it as, oh shit, we lost him again. Hold on, we'll get him back here in a second. But hopefully I can hold that thought. How you guys doing tonight? I hope you're enjoying the show. Mm. Should just be a minute. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the
Back.
lobby. Let's go
Can
out
you hear
to
me?
the lobby.
Can you hear
Yes.
me? Okay. Sorry about that.
I
Back off
almost got
camera.
the commercial through.
So no, you're
But
completely
like,
right. Yeah,
uh,
to your point.
and we were like, we didn't want it no matter what. And I still have that viewpoint. I'm like, that's your loser ribbon. Like,
No.
it was what told everybody that they could beat you up because you were the loser. But like
Yeah.
my younger siblings and you and stuff, y'all grew up in the age of that, and to me that's mystifying. Like, and they moved it further and further along. Like,
Well, they tie in together too, because that participation trophy. When I say that, it's more than the participation trophy. It's all, yeah, it's the desire for self-importance. They've removed that competitive aspect from society. It's selfish to do that, really. But it's
yeah,
also you also bring the sex element back in, and I don't mean this to be hypersexual talking about all this. It's just a reality of the situation, right?
it's okay. We've
Is
gotten pretty raunchy on here before.
so the porn industry. Oh, I know you have. The porn industry is completely taken the competitive element outside of sex. I mean, we're in an era where it's like 1 in 4 men are suffering from erectile dysfunction into their 30s, because just you can't. And it's so okay. Now I'm staunchly anti-porn. Now I make jokes about it, but it's
Oh
like
shit! Don't nobody tell him I made porn. I'm
I don't care, but
just teasing.
I'm not one to
I mean, I
judge.
did,
But
but I did,
okay,
but I
cool.
don't really care.
I
It's
mean,
fine.
whatever gets your rocks off. But
This was before
just
it
the
was
industry as a
fucking everywhere,
what
though.
what it is today, and just so saturated. These two things tie hand in hand. They've taken the two most innate biological intense urges of society and completely made them useless, vapid, meaningless, just inexistent. Really, in a lot of senses, they've taken the competition out of sex, and they've taken the sex out of competition.
Well, I don't want to be a complainer or not and nothing, but they also ruined the fucking porn economy. Like, I
Yeah.
remember when everything was in that stage between being professional and working with professionals, and now everything is basically fucking, almost everything is fucking amateur at this point. Because
Yeah.
anybody with a fucking camera can do it, and
Mhm.
it literally ruined the economy for it. Now people have to go out and find
And look,
simps in order to fucking make a fucking
right,
wage.
right, and look, I am all about sex positivity, and if having to suffer through seeing your vinegar strokes on a camera is what gets you off, then fucking go for it. Me, for one, I not my thing. I don't want to have my physical body anywhere near a camera. I mean, that's just me. Again, whatever you do, I'm not trying to. Please don't
Well,
think
I
I'm trying to
agree that it
shame
has
or
become.
sex
No,
positivity,
I
but
agree that it's
it's a
become
cultural thing.
oversaturated and people are like fapping all the goddamn time. And it's like it's good to have have a
Yeah,
healthy sex life, but this is beyond that. Like I think that one of the things they push us to
no,
do
no.
on a regular basis is to indulge. Because if you're indulging, it's a new opiate for the masses. Like video games and
The
porn
bottle,
and stuff like that.
the bottle,
It's your new
the bottle, the
opiate.
needle. It is the bottle, the needle, the pill, the high. All go by different names. Just wanting, just wanting to die.
Yeah, and it's not good
Because
for you to fap
we,
every night. Please don't
no,
do
it's
that.
not.
And it also
Please
makes
don't.
you really disappointing to your partners.
And if you do, try and start being able to have some sexual images in your head. Be able to be able to jack off to the image of you going down on a girl. Try it once. Try it once or twice.
Yeah, use your
Don't go watch the
imagination.
Step Bro, Step Sis Pro. Use your imagination a little bit. And be able to be able to jack off to the idea of pleasing somebody else. Try it just once, for God's sakes, because actually it's pretty
Yeah, it is. It is. It's pretty
fun.
fucking cool. It's way
Because then
better.
when you go do it, you're a
Um,
lot. Believe it or not, wisdom from me. I don't have much of it, but I have a little bit.
sex
Or
hour.
maybe I'm an incel making this all up. I guess maybe I'm an incel
Well,
making
you're
this all
not
up. I guess
fucking
you'll never
wrong.
know.
I'm not an incel. I'm not an incel, and I'll agree. You're not fucking wrong. And that goes for men or women, you know, or
No,
our
I'm
non-binary
not an incel. I
pals.
just like saying I am because it's fun. I
Oh shit. Did we lose him again? Let's go out to the lobby and have ourselves a snack. I finished the fucking commercial. God damn it.
Out
It's
again.
done. Oh,
God
that was
damn it.
perfect timing. That was perfect
Oh.
timing. I got to finish off the commercials. It's not an actual commercial. I was singing that let's go out to the lobby shit. Because I'm
I
fucking
don't know.
old.
If y'all did it here, I jack off to Benito Mussolini every night. So there you go.
Fair. Like,
Yeah, I'm just a
uh,
hardcore incel fascist. Yeah, my two favorite things. Also known as a proud boy. I
oh my
made a
god.
funny. I made a
Ha ha
funny.
ha ha. But like, I mean,
I've
it's
been setting up that punchline for 10 minutes.
oh my god. So like, I don't want to like keep us going on the sex thing or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's
I
probably
mean,
time
like,
for a subject
they're
change.
probably like I know that there are some older people who watch this sometimes, and I always get like I
Oh.
start thinking about the people who watch it, and I'm like, oh no. Well, they have to know by now. If they're still watching, it's okay. Like
They're
I said
probably
the
not.
F word in front of like the Jesus ladies the other day, and I was like, no, and they were like, it's okay. You're just passionate. Oh shit, he fell out again. We're having these problems here. Here we
I
go. All
did it
right.
again.
And
No, I just
yeah, and
keep
they were
bumping
like, "It's
shit.
okay, you're just passionate." And I'm like, "That's nice. That's like nice speak for you little fucking degenerate."
Oh, I'm a total degenerate. Like it was. Oh man, dude. You'll see me in the. I'm just. I get. You'll see me in a chat, and like 10 minutes before, I was just talking about some of the just most awful, heinous things humanity can do, and then I'll forget I said it, and then I'll say "No king but Christ." I'm like, oh wait, I should
Wait,
probably.
oh god, I'm going to hell.
I really need to compartmentalize what chats I say what in. But I can't help
Well, in
myself,
this
dude.
chat you can say both. I don't fucking care.
No king but Christ, fuck porn, I'm a degenerate. I miss casinos badly. I really miss casinos.
They
Anyways, let's
legalized that shit here.
let's try and maybe get out of the sewer here a bit.
Yeah, let's get out of the sewer here a little bit. And like I was gonna say, so like, so you're a degenerate incel, and you're involved in the boog and all of that shit and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, have you ever done anything like? Do you mind talking about? Have you ever gone out to the protests and
I
kid or
have.
anything like that? What is that like?
I don't,
Were you nervous the first time?
no,
Because I know
no.
some people out there are nervous about their first time.
Yeah. So I've never gone in kit, and part of that's because I'm a felon, and we can, I guess, get into my legal shit if you want. But I'm a felon, so I don't carry.
Fucking I fucking hate that. Like
Yeah.
they will use that to deperson people, and they'll
Hmm.
even take people's ability to vote away.
I mean, I don't really care about that,
Yeah, I know,
but
but some people care about it.
yeah, I
It's
know.
it's dumb
Um.
that they do all that shit.
So yeah, I'm a felon. I can't carry. I've been a felon since I was 19. So all my guns are in a lake somewhere in the great wide yonder. Um.
Boating accidents all around.
Oh my god, dude, I really need to learn how to drive a boat. Which one will happen first? Will I get laid or learn how to drive a boat? I guess we'll figure out. Um. So I I don't carry. I gray man in Portland for about 2 weeks, and this is something I haven't been too public about. Largely for
Portland. That
no,
was a hot spot.
hmm
I
and it's
left
something.
Portland just before, like not far before everything started getting
Um,
fucking spicy.
yeah, and it's something I've alluded to in chats, and I think people kind of pieced it together. Some people, informed me of that, but it's something I had to keep for security and for my legal shit. I had to keep under the wraps. There's some people I have talked to about it, but I gray man in Portland for just under 3 weeks total. And all the while, I'm in Salt Lake. I went to protests all around the West in quite a few places by and large. Um, and it was just I just did it for observation to learn what was going on and see for myself, get
Hey,
my boots on the ground.
observers are important. I
Yeah,
mean, we even have them here. People will show up and be like, "I'm an observer," and they're
yeah,
very important if you ask me.
yeah. And I wanted to learn all this, and I wanted to learn it and figure it out for myself. I didn't want to like talk about it and let my idea like So there was another reason why I guess I stay quiet about more than just my own security is like I wanted to figure out for myself what it was and not get all these preconceived notions going into it, right? And it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I learned a lot. We can talk about that, but Portland was interesting. What it was for me more than anything was watching the VP debate. So I did all that, and then I came home and was home for a while. Came back into Salt Lake City around end of July, start of August, and um, I've been in Salt Lake, or I guess now Pocatello, since August, and through that time, continue to be involved. Got more involved in the national scene, or whatever you want to call it, the larger scene of Boog. Got more involved. That's when I started getting more involved in that, other than just shit posting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I you know, I shit. My best friend watches. He doesn't even know I ever went out of state, but
Oh
so I
shit.
guess that's out in the open now.
Cat's
But
out of the bag.
cat's out of the bag. I just realized I haven't really told anybody that publicly. But anyways, coming back home to Salt Lake after a total doing about 5 weeks of protests in various places. Um, and never telling anybody where I was at. I had this idea of what it was, and coming to Salt Lake in October, we had the VP debates here. The debates were 4 blocks from my house, so it was just like literally it was a 15-minute walk down to where the debates were at. They were held at the Performing Arts Center of the University of Utah, and it was horrifying to see what was going on there. Um, you know,
How so?
you had out of state Antifa brought in flying this uh, uh, um, hammer and sickle. Clearly not from there, clearly not affiliated with the community at all. They were just there to instigate. But you also had uh, um, our local threepers and what essentially amounts to our local threepers. The MAGA crowd was clearly so in bed with the police department. And we're
Mm-hmm.
not talking sheriff's office. We're talking pure police department brought in from all over the state. You had, and I guess maybe it shouldn't have sounded surprising, but it was clear that there were members, especially of the threepers, who were really, I guess, kind of the leaders of the MAGA crowd, right? They were the voice of. It was disturbing to watch them tactically work with the police, and I guess to give you a yeah, that was really disturbing. And to give you an idea, so I don't know how many know here Salt Lake. It was on 13th South or 13th East and 2nd South. And 2nd South going west is downhill. And they deliberately pushed and so the cops deliberately the gave the MAGA, the right wing crowd, the higher ground up 2nd East going east. And then pushed around um the left wing, the Antifa, and bottleneck them. They trapped them because they had at the bottom of 2nd South or second at the bottom of that next block, 2nd South, down into I guess it's University and 13th South and all that. At the bottom of the block, they had the cops waiting for them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're sitting you have this intersection here and here, and they bottled them in around and trapped them. And it was just the most disturbing thing because the cops the entire time knew that they had the MAGA crowd, which is by and large caring. They had them behind them to do this. It was just the most eerie dystopian thing I've ever seen. And all
That's
this while
pretty
people are
fucked up.
literally, it was haunting. And all the while, the only words you can hear is Black Lives Matter. They literally this entire time for an hour straight scream Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. So they're just shouting this banality, and as you're watching just the authoritarian, just horror show that it was, and it was so clear in that moment what we are, it was basically the encapsulation of everything we were at, but also showing that how dark it frankly will be. I'm not
Yeah.
someone who thinks this will
It's
end
gonna
peacefully.
get
I'll just be straight up.
worse.
And it's just
Unfortunately.
how French Revolution-y it is. Because that's what I keep saying. Everybody says we're in the American Revolution and Civil War. That's because we know the history of that easier. But what we are at, we can talk about this further too, is we're at the French Revolution. That's an important
Oh,
subject too, I think. Um,
so like,
getting back to
How do
my
you
point
think it's different?
is like
Oh wait,
the
yeah,
MAGA
we'll hit
crowd
that in
was
a
grand. This
second.
was all pre-planned. Yeah, I want to finish my point. So this was
Yeah.
all pre-planned. I just want to clarify this. This was all pre-planned. The MAGA crowd was clearly stacked. They had the concrete barriers. They were protected. They had concrete barriers. They had shields, all police shields, and it was clearly planned that the Antifa would be put into this bottleneck. And it was just so disturbing. It was so pre-planned. It had been set in course to do this because you had everything going east up the hill was higher ground, higher ground, higher ground. And this Antifa was led just to slaughter. So think about it. If it escalated past, obviously it stayed peaceful. There was no shots fired by and large. It stayed relatively peaceful. Nothing popped off. But think about that same just tactical nightmare, but in an actual war situation, and you're just sick to your stomach. So that was what I saw. That was the last protest I went to. I haven't been to one since. That would be the culmination of it all. So continue on, my wayward son.
So you said it was about, I mean, you think it's more of a French Revolution type thing. I wanted to
Mm-hmm,
know your
mm-hmm,
opinion as to like why it's more like a French Revolution. Well, I
mm-hmm.
mean, like I'm afraid that they're gonna push us towards a fucking actual civil war before all of this pop, like before we're able to like push for
So
change. And they're gonna use that
for
to
a
close the
reason,
authoritarian grasp. But
revolution. A lot of history with that, right?
you're such a
So we
history
know what
nerd.
the
I like
American
this so much.
so we know what the American Revolution was, right? And we know what the Civil War was. So like if you know, just cool, go right with that. I won't get into that. What the French Revolution was something completely different. Um, it was localized. You had the state was localized. I mean, it was the monarchy and it was the church. The state was there, it was in their lives. The France was in just inordinate amounts of debt, largely actually from the American Revolution didn't help. There's a population spike in all the urban centers. Does any of this sound familiar? Um,
Hmm.
Large population spike in urban centers. Totally, those two things combined. The resources, people started going hungry. There was the complete economic the wealth was just completely started being bottled up at the top, filtering towards the monarchy in the Louis XVI. And I mean, y'all can do the research you want. I'm willing to discuss it more in depth with anybody who is willing to listen. But it became a untenable situation, right? And
Yeah.
it blows up, and you basically that's where you have the march on not Versailles, forget Bastille Day and all that. They storm and all that. Yeah, and so that's your revolution, right? And they overthrow. But it gets complicated because it was also a civil war. People don't know this. The French Revolution was also a civil
Yeah.
war because they took over and these urban centers took over. That's where the revolution happened. And it went on and on. But what happened is they started to delegitimize the religion. They started to delegitimize the culture. They created their own calendar. Um, and people weren't having it. So they became counter revolutionaries. And that is when you
Yeah.
had brother on brother. And
Hmm.
they moved from the rural centers into the urban centers. So these rural people are like, fuck this. And they came in and counter revolutionaries and Robespierre fell and all this. And that's a very, very short version of it, horribly explained. So it was both. And that is what we're looking at. We are looking at both. We are looking at a dire need for the complete overthrow of the state, but at the same time, a
We're
a
incredibly
culture that is
polarizing.
funneled into a civil war. Yeah, and that is what their culture was. And then you also have the same dynamics that led us there. The dynamics we have that lead us in our current decline are not what the American Revolution was. American Revolution was a loss of autonomy. The Civil War was a complete clash of economics. Slavery being the economics. I'm not saying Civil War wasn't fought over slavery. Fuck you, it was.
Yeah.
But it was a complete clash over just identity, culture, whatever you want to call it. We are not that per se. We are both kind of, but what we are is the entire picture of the French Revolution. We are so French Revolution. So when I say we welcome to France circa, 1784, We very much are. And if you look at the socioeconomic factors of it, if you try and, it's hard to compare them apple for apple, right? Because we're
right?
talking pre-industrial revolution and 21st century digital revolution. It's hard to do, but there are people that have really crunched the numbers, and if you do it as well as you can, we really are like in 2020 alone, we have done about 2.5, 3 years of France. Like we really started France in 1780, and we're ending it really looking at 1783, even 1784, just by looking at the dynamics of what's happened with COVID, what's happened economically, what's happened civil discord wise. There are metrics that measure the amounts of civil unrest. I mean, we usurped the civil unrest levels of, I mean, right now, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but I'll say the French Revolution. We really are, if you look at the socioeconomic factors of it, we really are in 1783, 1784 France, more than we would be currently in 1770 America or 1856 Civil War. With that said, the Clinton administration did something interesting in the late 90s, created a organization that I can't remember the name of it, and I haven't looked into it for a while, basically created a metric for measuring the civil discord in a country going into the new millennia, which of course very sounds New World Orderly.
Yeah.
And we broke like 1856 back in May. And I mean, by 1856, the Civil War was inevitable. And we hit 1856 back in May.
Well, I
And
mean, I have a hard time with people who don't think we're in the middle of a civil war already because, like, you can look out there any given day
yeah,
and see groups clashing already. Like, we're not
mm-hmm.
going to get out on a field and look each other and wait for the whites of their eyes and with cannons and shit. We're not going to do that, y'all.
Well,
And
so basically, we're like the French Revolution with Syria, right? Modern warfare and all that. But I mean, what's going on in Syria? You have all these different factions fighting with the state still in control. And that's a whole other thing. But yeah. So what are my two things that I say? We're in the French Revolution, and then I also say, welcome to Vichy America. That's my other point. If we're going to talk about the French Revolution, let's talk about Vichy America. And do you know what Vichy France was, right?
I don't actually. You're about to teach me something.
Now I just sound like pretentious cunt again for the
No. Do tell. Do
So,
tell.
Vichy France was the puppet government of the Nazis.
Oh.
The Nazis came in and overthrew the French government. And that's where we are. So I say, welcome to Vichy France, circa 1780, but also circa 1941. That's the reality of our situation, Mike.
In this situation, the fucking Nazis are basically China.
No.
You don't think so?
No. It's the New World Order. It's the United Nations. It's Agenda 21. It's this general cabal thing that you were talking about.
You're right. Like, I mean, it could be a little
Hollywood.
Bit of both
it's Hollywood. It's all of it.
It feels like China's trying to get in there, though. Like,
China is
economically. They're trying to get their foot in the door and take
China very
advantage
much
of
is. They very much are. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying they are a factor of it. But they are an emerging factor of it too. They're not even an established factor, because the established factors are in this country. The established factors are the Bushes, who made millions. So
the dynasties.
Fun fact, the Bushes didn't make their money in oil. They made their money in railroad infrastructure in Poland in the late 30s and early 40s. Please do tell me, Mike Bobby, what was infrastructure in Poland used around that time?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't want to talk about it. That sounds like
That's
more Nazi
exactly.
shit.
The Bush family is steep. The Bush family is the largest the largest rally, and you can fact check me on this, I might be off with general semantics, but generally speaking, is the largest rally in Madison Square Garden, one of the largest. It was a pro-fascist Nazi rally held in Madison Square Garden, I think in 1939 or 1940. One of the largest organizers of it was Prescott Bush, who was a senator from Maryland, Massachusetts at the time, before the Bush family went to Texas. Anyways, Bush was an ardent Nazi. Do you want to know who he's distantly related to?
Ooh.
Queen Elizabeth.
Oh.
Do you want to know who? Do you know that the English royal family is actually German?
Jesus Christ.
Okay,
I
no, we don't even need to go down that route. Let's stay realistic here. Do you know that the
mean, I use that
do you
as
know
a
that
figure of
no,
speech. I don't actually
I know,
believe in
I
lizard
know.
people.
I hope not. I hope to God not. Do you know
No,
that the English royal family is actually German?
are they? I think
Yep.
they had some
The
German.
House of the House of
The House
Windsor is a
of
completely
Windsor.
made
Yeah,
is a completely
like
made up is a completely made up name before World War One. They're the House of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha because of the intermarriages that happened in Europe
see, I knew the
over
first
the
part,
year
but I didn't know the
centuries of
second
monarchies.
part.
Yeah. So it was Elizabeth's father was a staunch fascist supporter. Elizabeth's the current Queen of England's father was a he refrained he stepped back off in later years as the country went to war with Germany because Parliament took over. But the monarchy was pro Germany, pro Nazi party for a while. Queen Elizabeth II's father, the current Queen of England, her own father was pro Nazi and played an important role with Pope Pius XII, I believe was the Pope at the time,
Oh
of
God, I can't
making
keep up with all the popes.
let's just say it ends with some dude named Addy end up becoming Time Person of the Year. You know that? Adolf
Mm.
Hitler was Time Person of the Year, I believe, in 1940,
Yeah, yeah, I
1939.
remember that. Yes,
You know that?
yeah, I did know that one.
Yeah.
We're getting back into the familiar shit.
Look all this shit up. This, yeah.
Yeah, guys,
So
look this shit up.
my point being, I might be off on some of the details and semantics, but it all, yeah, I
Kind of
mean, I'm
funnels
not one to
into
believe in
itself.
coincidence.
I
It
don't believe
does.
in
It does.
coincidence either. I've not been able to do
The
that for a long
fascism,
time.
the fascism creates itself, right? And I mean, the Bushes and the Saudis, and I mean, there's so many of it. I mean, I think it's pretty interesting that Trump was the first non-Nixon or Bush to be on a presidential winning Republican presidential ticket since 1928. You
Oh
know
yeah,
that?
and here we are. They're trying to take our will to be better.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to take our fucking our private economy.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to fucking like literally
Well,
not let us out of our houses. They're trying to take our
oh,
guns. It's like fucking
it's that
history
and
all over
so
again.
much more. So like,
Oh yeah, it is
well,
more,
really,
but
what it is. So really, what it is, fascism is two different things. It is the belief that um it's really just one thing at the end of the day. It is the belief that the authority of the state supersedes that of the authority of the individual, with the idea that eventually it denies the existence of the individual
the
altogether.
individual altogether.
And Mussolini's the guy who came up with the term and semantics of it, but this is theory that dates back to Plato. The third book of the Republic is basically the impetus, the nexus point for what fascism is. Plato was really the first fascist because you declare that the authority of the state is the most efficient way for humanity to live, and that we need to do that and damn the existence of the individual. And it is no
Yeah.
longer I think, therefore I am. It is the state is, therefore I am.
And
And
at this point, they've
that's
got
what we're fighting.
everybody thinking that they need the state to
Mm-hmm.
survive, that they
Well,
can't
they're creating it so
really.
that they need the state to survive. And I haven't even gotten to the wormhole where communism has never existed, and it's only existed under Trotskyism and Leninism and Maoism, which are really just fascist in nature. It's
Yeah,
all fascism we're fighting, folks. I mean,
and
to get off my
keep in mind,
soapbox, that's all it
like
is. We're fighting is
ANCOMs
we're fighting
believe in a more
fascism.
voluntary association, and you can't have that without the individual, like
Mm-hmm.
in the group. Like they may
No,
choose to live in
no,
communes and
no,
shit like that, but they still have to have a
no,
sense
and
of the individual in order
no.
to have consent.
Rene Descartes, who writes, he's the guy who I think, therefore I am. Um, he wouldn't have minded an ANCOM at all. He would have probably supported their complete right to exist because you can't have ANCOM without that. We're not talking communism as in Marxism or
Yeah,
Kropotkin or any of that. We're talking communism as that's used basically as a false flag to usher in what is utter and complete fascism, the authority of the
yeah,
state superseding and eventually erasing the existence of the individual. So this all
yes.
these theories all tie in together, right? They really, really do. I had another point I was going to get to. I totally
I'm
forgot it,
sorry.
but
Did I get us off on
no,
the?
no, I got me off on that. I do that a lot.
Uh-oh.
I'm
We're
good
gonna
at
get
that.
back into the dirty shit. Because
Uh-oh. Why are we getting back into the dirty shit? Oh
we're
yeah,
getting
boy.
off on shit.
Oh, I'll be good, I promise. I'll be good.
But I mean, like,
Um,
honestly, do you think that we'll be able to unify in time to push back before it gets too fucking awful, or do you think it's gonna be like with our balls to the fucking wall?
our balls are already to the fucking wall.
To me, it
Um,
feels that way, but
so
not to everyone else.
here's the thing, Mike Bobby, is that it will exist. I'm also gonna go smoke. So you guys are welcome again. It will always exist. Let's not pretend it won't. And
Like
basically, what it
authoritarianism, or
the authoritarianism and the quest for fascistic power. That is the
well, yeah,
world
it
we have
will.
entered
We will
into.
have to be constant. We will have to have constant vigilance.
Yes, but what I'm saying is it is the idea of securing territory to fight that. So if they have territories to say they have Iowa, we have Indiana, and we fight for every scrape of land. We are playing Risk, we are playing Stratego, whatever you want to call it, but we are fighting for that land.
Yeah.
That is what it is. Is like this idea that we're gonna wipe it all away. Um, it's not.
There's a accelerationist weirdo somewhere deep in my closet that sometimes wonders if we couldn't just let the one world order grab everything and then take them all out at once.
No,
I
no,
know it won't work that way, but
because at that point the spirit of humanity would be just too utterly slaughtered, and too much damage would be done to
yeah,
people. Because I mean
would
that's how
become one
they've
of
been
those
able.
dystopian animes where
Yeah,
everybody dies at the end.
completely correct. And I mean we have nuclear weapons, and the bomb would fall, and that would be all she wrote. Because I mean, uh, um,
Once they get that
here,
much control, they'd basically be losing everything, and
yeah.
I
What
don't
is
think they'd care.
what is the line? Wasn't it Oppenheimer who said the death destroyer of worlds?
Mhm.
Um, So that's what you're entering into. That's what we're entering into. And it's all about securing as much territory as we can for as much of humanity that can live under that roof. It's kind of, it's all of it meets once. You see that there's that meme that has the ultimate Venn diagram. It's got like Logan's Run, it's got 1984, it's got Brave New World. So all of these, and then it says, "You are here."
Yeah,
Of all of 2020, there's no truer meme than that. It really
yeah.
is.
No, I definitely agree. Um, and you know, we're talking about trying to draw people together and everything like
Yeah.
that. And I keep talking about J17 to everybody, like basically every fucking episode. And what do you think about that? Are you gonna do you think that that'll be successful, or do you think it's gonna be a
No,
disappointment? Like, I'm pretty
no,
excited that about
it
it because
won't be.
I think here it'll be relatively successful
There
locally.
are areas it won't be. Um, oh boy, this is another thing I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on, and you know that.
I do. I want to talk about it. I think that, like a
Uh,
lot of people have been just, like very happy about it, extremely positive, and like there are some concerns out there.
there are very valid concerns. So, I mean, when it comes to my singing revolution thing, that idea that not mine, but I'm bringing to the table here publicly, I guess. Um, it's really the same thing, right? It is the same ideal and purpose, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and so I resonate with the idea, and I know what's behind it. I know what Mando has worked on with David, has come out publicly, has worked on behind it.
Yeah.
And by the way, for the record, call me Mark. I am more than willing at this point to usurp the moniker. Just, I guess, throw that in there now. Um,
It's gonna be hard. Like
so, so
when I freaking learn someone by a name,
yeah.
I can't
Oh,
fucking change it.
I'm not saying that you personally. I'm saying the community at large. Feel free. I'm not.
Ah,
It's time we move past some of these monikers and some of these play names. But, anyways, my point. That's another subject, but it's more in the redacted nature. But as far as this January 17th thing goes, there are areas of this country it's well organized. They have units. They're well organized. What Hibiscus Society has done. Not putting them on blast too much, but what they have done is very commendable, and that's what this should be. But that's not what it is by and large. There are areas of this country that might, you see that there's states. Michigan has a good standpoint on it. Ohio might. Indiana maybe. Texas certainly does. That would be one of the places of all the states I would go to for it. It would be Texas. Well, some of the
I
reasons, but
can't leave. I'm excited about doing it here.
I know. And if it works great for
Mainly
you and your
because I
personal,
think it'll work out here.
So I
Hopefully.
keep bouncing back and forth. Here's why. Because here in Utah, like I want to do it for my community, and which would be Utah. At the same time, Mike, and I've told you this, it really what Utah shows how bad it could turn out because Utah.
Yeah.
And I've explained. So for those of you that are aware, just picture it in your head. For those that aren't, the Utah State Capitol is perched up on a steep hill. To really, the one way to get to it normally would be going straight up north, up State Street, up a vertical hill. And then, so basically you're marching on that and then, marching on the Capitol and then staying there. If you have any knowledge of medieval history or medieval tactics or just general tactics in general is fucking horrible because that situation is atrocious. Let's go over the 4 directions from it just to get into why I think it's so horrible. Your first direction away from the Capitol is north, where you go up, continue going up straight hill, sitting duck, right? Obvious.
Yeah.
You go east, and it's no gulch. It's not some little gulch you go into. It is a steep downward canyon you go down and up back into. You have to go down and out. The real way to it, the real way east, you go straight down in the City Creek Canyon, straight downhill, and then you would continue to go south, and you would put yourself in the bottleneck. That's the other direction out of south, is you go right back down where you came from, straight south, downhill. So those are the 2 of the 3 directions. And what would end up happening is, picture Salt Lake, you would end up going into 2nd Avenue, North Temple is what it would be. Or 2nd Avenue, North Temple comes same street. It would be State Street and 2nd Ave. And ironically enough, Brigham Young is buried right there. And you would force yourself into a 300-style slaughter at the bottom of this hill. And those 2 of the 4 directions are funneled right into this, where you would be slaughtered like sheep on the graveside of Brigham Young. That's a horrible idea. Because once you went up to that Capitol, they would be waiting for you. And after what I saw at the VP debate, there's no doubt in my mind that, I don't think it'll happen on the 17th. I don't think things are prepared enough. I don't think they really care enough for it to happen. But in the worst case scenario, that's what would happen. After what I saw at the VP debate combined with that, it would be absolutely horrific. And just like, no, fuck that.
Would you think it'd be as bad if they picked a different place?
Yes, but that's not the theory behind that defeats the entire purpose of the 17th. I'm sorry, like it just does.
It a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely, it eliminates what they're wanting to do with the ANCAP and all that. Just completely eliminates the purpose of it, because there's talks about protests here at the ATF building where they have the field office. I actually ended up delivering DoorDash to their field office, ironically enough. Got a DoorDash. Hey, ATF agent, thank you for that free sandwich. Fuck yeah. Turkey Club on Ciabatta. Straight up. I have no problem admitting I stole a sandwich from an ATF agent. Anyways, continue on. Lady Liberty Libertas First has deleted the chat. Inside joke there. So anyway, I know what Manos wanted to do with it, but it would eliminate the purpose not to do it on the state capitol. So you get back to my point. The 4th direction is going west, and you're going through these 1-lane little. It's called the Marmalade District or Capitol District, whichever one. And you're going through it, and at that point you just be picked off like dogs in the street. These one little narrow ways where you have to pull over to let somebody else come through, tiny up and down, and it basically ends up going downhill gradually until you hit what is 3rd West, or becomes Beck Street, the thoroughfare. And we all know they would be sitting there waiting for you, lined up. It'd be a firing line. So long story short, if you have any intimate knowledge of Salt Lake City, yeah, it would be a ton of motherfuckers walking to go picked off like dogs in the street. So when the 17th thing started coming out, nobody knew what it was really about. Nobody knew where it was coming from. That was poorly done. It should have been. They got the cart ahead of the horse.
I get why they did it, but I complained heavily about that.
I get why, but it really killed it before it started. So I'm sitting there seeing this. I'm like, that's the stupidest fucking thing. I lived on 2nd Street and M, right off 19th and South Temple. So I was 9-10 blocks from the Capitol. Stupidest fucking thing on the planet to think that would be a reasonable, especially if just for the principle of it, if we want to exemplify what proper tactics are in a shit hits the fan scenario, that is the dumbest goddamn thing. And I won't participate in it actively. I might gray man, I might observe to see who shows up and see who doesn't show up. That is very interesting to me. But I won't participate. I won't kid up. None of us, I think by and large, we've agreed we won't. And if some people do, that's great. Utah is the exact opposite of what we want to do with what the 17th should be. Yeah. Texas, what they've done down there with the hibiscus is the precise exact what they want to do with it. And I commend them. Just
I think
what they've organized
is it'll be
completely deserving of applause.
And for some places, it'll be just a first step, you know, like because some places, like here in Arkansas, things move so much slower than they catch on. I say, you know, like the rest of the nation's on fire, but we just have smoke in the grass here. So like, you know, I think
and that's how Utah is. That is Utah as well. And so why?
But like, I don't think that it's gonna be like. They're not going to cover it on the... I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know. I hope that I'm wrong and we'll have like a bazillion people there. But I really think it's going to be constructive, I suppose, is the word. Like, I'm looking forward to that.
It'll be a meeting spot. So it'll be a meeting spot, which has its ups, but it also has its downs. And I can get into that. So we've established, you know, that's how we started seeing the 17th. And it was weird. We saw the 17th come about. The people who really started sharing it were these hyper accelerationists, and they started talking, you know, march and guns and all this shit. And it was just like, you see the language that's here. And it wasn't accelerationist as in bring upon chaos and chaotic neutral. It was just sheer and
you turned into a robot. Could you re-say that again?
Ignorant accelerationism from what they're talking about.
What, worst like case everybody scenario, come together and fight the government kind of shit? Oh shit, we lost him again. The feds don't want us talking about this. Sorry guys, he's gone. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know that he's not gone. He's right there, but he'll catch up here in a second, I'm sure. Oh my god. Like, I don't know if I should start on something. We'll give him just a second. How are you guys doing tonight? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling happy? Oh, you're back.
I'm back. Cool.
Yes.
Sorry.
You're in the pure, unadulterated, and I asked what like I asked what like everybody come together and fight the government kind of shit.
Yeah. I could hear you. You couldn't hear me. Okay, so when I step out, like forgive me, I'm just out smoking. I might step outside of Wi-Fi for a bit. So forgive me for that, guys. Okay, so I should probably just finish my point. PACON infiltration, it's clear, it's prevalent, it's obvious to see the suspect nature. And what did it for me was, and I've talked about this thought experiment with you, Mike, is, I'm sorry to go on without you even asking the question, but
no, go ahead.
When I started seeing the largest armed protest on U.S. soil, it was one of the most horrifying, if not the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. Talking to a guy who used to watch Mexican cartel videos, that is not probably, it is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen.
Well, what was so horrifying about it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, because to date, as we are now in my time zone 4 hours away from 2021, what is the largest armed protest on U.S. soil?
I'm not actually sure which one that one was.
The common answer is
really big ones.
People always say revolution. People always say Revolutionary War.
I guess that was technically a protest, yeah.
But no, it wasn't the largest protest on U.S. soil. It wasn't U.S. soil at the time. It wasn't even U.S. soil until even 1776. It wasn't U.S. soil.
So what do you usually say?
It's not what I usually say. It's what the obvious answer is. It's the Civil War. The largest armed protest on U.S. soil was the Civil War.
Like one of the deadliest, most nasty fucking wars, too. Well, that's a big
750,000 dead men.
strange.
And at 26 years old, if you want to go read the death lists and you read them, and me at 26, I read them and I'm like, there's me, there's my brother, there's my, there's my twin brother, there's my best friend, there's this. I just read me and everybody, all the men I grew up with, especially as a 26-year-old male. And it's horrifying. And when I saw that started getting posted, I was like, I can't do this. I can't support this in good conscience, because whether it be government infiltration, whether it be pure ignorance, whether it be board keyboard warrior hyper accelerationists, whatever it may be, um, it's revolting to its core. And that is when I started saying shit. And you saw that publicly, because fact of the matter is that the 17th has become something that many are, in different words, nothing short of calling for civil war. And it won't happen.
Which sucks to me, because that's not what I want it to be. I want
that's not
it
what
to
I want
bring
to be.
us together.
That's not what the Liberty Vanguard wants it to be.
Yeah.
That's
The
not
whole
what.
idea, in case people are wondering and you
Yeah.
haven't tuned in, is that it's supposed to bring people together of all kinds to talk about and meet and
So
teach people and come
it
together
is.
and network and shit like that. It's
It
not a
is.
protest
No.
against the government. It's a rally to come together.
The problem is that there's not the infrastructure at place for it to be anything more than what it will end up being in most places, is a way for the state to get a list of who is really going to show up, and they will get their high subversion list. Really, that's all it's going to be at best. At worst, it's going to end up being a honeypot where somebody fires a shot and somebody else hears that shot and fires a shot, and a ton of motherfuckers who probably don't even train or know where the goddamn safety is on their gun, and think the Kalashnikov made their AR, and shit's going to pop off. And that would be the worst case scenario. Well, we don't want either one of those. We're not
At least
prepared enough.
I'm not worried about that here, because we have a
and there's
huge gun culture, and they already know who's willing to come out, and on
and like
every
I
fucking
and
side.
and like I said, in Texas, what they're doing down there is, and I don't mean to name drop you guys. Like, if I'm breaking security, then blacklist me. You want to be the first time, but I just want to, what they're doing down there is highly commendable, because it is exactly what this movement wants to be. They're not just, it's not going to be a ton of dudes showing up, not knowing what they're doing, honeypot themselves. These are dudes who, by and large, know their shit, from everything I've gathered. But here in my area, if I had to go Utah, Idaho, from my talking to people, without naming names, Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and both of the Dakotas are all pretty much backed out of taking this anything too seriously. And there might be circles that do. I might not know about those circles, but by and large, it's not a positive viewpoint on it, or at least not a glowingly positive viewpoint. There are going to be those of us who go, have nothing more to observe. And I understand why people want to go and voice their displeasure with the government, but it's just, and maybe
I've
now's the
said
time,
for
but
like over a year now that they want this to pop off, and I think they're gonna try and use not
they will.
necessarily the boog, but like they're gonna use one of these kinds of gatherings to try and push it.
Well, I think that's what's become their goal with the boog, frankly, and I think that the boog is almost as much a ton of infiltration that wants this to happen than it is actual boog anymore.
Well, we got to be vigilant of each other just as much as
we haven't. Well, part of the problem is that the 17th movement has been established before people have really started to have these conversations like you and I are having now, and have been having.
Yeah, like I was trying to push for this conversation, and like it was, eventually, like I tried to dig and figure out where it was from and everything like that, because I wanted to bring people out and talk about it as quickly as fucking possible. But it took a while. It took months, I think.
Yeah, it took a solid month or two. So I guess to put a bow on that, yeah, I think it's got a beautiful idea, and the plan that's laid out is fucking incredible. And I don't know how public he's gone with it yet outside of your podcast, but I fucking love it. And
we'll been on another podcast before too.
He's been with the Goon Squad.
Yeah.
And both those podcasts I'd highly recommend. I mean, I'll
Yeah, I
share the
fucking
link.
love the Goon Squad.
I'll
Yeah,
share the link. Yeah, they're great too. I'd love to talk to them. Classified is awesome fellas.
we
But
actually had them on the 5th
oh,
of
really,
November.
I miss I miss that. But I was not particularly pleasant with the world that first week of November. But that's for other personal
Fair.
reasons. But um, so yeah, I'll post both of those links on my profiles, what have you. I'd highly recommend both of those listens as far as the 17th movement goes. It's a beautiful concept. I just think was possibly a little bit rushed. And it's also, I guess to end it on this note, it's a terrible day. It's on a Sunday, which I mean, just thinking about Utah, nobody's going to fucking be there. If you've seen the streets in Utah on a Sunday, it is dead.
Yeah,
It's
y'all
dead, dead,
aren't
dead.
like most Mormons are not allowed to do anything that would be
No.
considered work on a Sunday, right?
Well, and
Like,
I
that's what
like
you
that
think
idea.
about that.
Take a day. Lord took a day of rest. We ought to, but um,
Hey, Sunday's my day off typically.
my day working in the restaurant industry, my day's always been Monday. For the record, guys, I'm a career bar. If you want to know something about me? I'm a career bartender before COVID. Career bartender, and then I did DoorDash now. Um,
Fucking sucks that you can't do that because bartending's really
I
lucrative.
miss I miss bartending so much, like you couldn't believe. But anyways, I what was I saying? Oh, nobody's going to be there on the 17th. The inauguration is on the 20th. So it's going to look like a ton of dudes protesting the election results. And Martin Luther King Day is the next goddamn day. And it's going to look like a ton of white tiki torch motherfuckers armed with guns
Yeah.
protesting the election results. And it's like, hey guys, let's have Charlottesville 2.0.
Oh
And
Jesus.
that
I
is the
don't want
public
that. No.
that is going to be the public reception of it in a lot of places. Where you're at, probably not so much. Out in the east, oh hell yeah. Uh,
Oh yeah,
it's just
probably. They like doing that.
that
It's
rankles me a
part of
lot, and
what they
I
do.
hadn't even thought about it being yeah. So it's a terribly planned date, to be frank. To be entirely candid, it's a horribly planned date. Because we all knew inauguration day. We've known that for months, and regardless of who won, Inauguration Day has been January 20th since I think Roosevelt's second term, and it was March before. We've known what Inauguration Day was every single election for this entire country's history. So
Also, but kind of
with the
fuck
contested,
inauguration day.
don't get me wrong. I mean, voting is violence. Fuck the state. But there's also PR, and regardless of who won, it was going to be either way. It looked like MAGA. Either way, it was going to make it look like MAGA crowd glorifying Trump or MAGA crowd protesting for Cheeto Jesus. And like it or not, that's how it looks. That's how the posters look. And as much as it looks nice that Mr. Rogers make it in the neighborhood again, I know what they're trying to do with it. I
That's
fucking
my
respect the shit
favorite
out of it.
fucking one. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it is. It's the only one I've shared, but by and large, I think I might share a few others, but it's the only one I really touch you, and that's what I'm about. But that's not what it's going to be perceived as, and there's no reason for it to be perceived as anything else because of
I
the
mean, at least
dates
not
around it.
where
And I
you
don't
are and in
know
some
if that was just poor
places.
planning or what, but
Like, I think
well,
honestly, I do want to
I mean,
fucking hit home on
in
that.
the
Like some places, y'all,
yeah,
like be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your situation and how
be
things
aware
are
of your
going.
centers. Well, like I said, things are different in some other states that I've talked to. I mean, again, Texas is the shining star in that. Michigan isn't too bad either.
And I mean,
Um,
like, that doesn't just have to do with whether you go or not. It has to do with how you
yeah.
go too. Because, like, in some places,
So yeah,
you should, like, the people are deciding that they're not gonna. I mean, they're gonna just, go normal. And in some places, we're all like, "Fuck that shit! It's aloha forever."
yeah,
And like, but it depends on where you are. Like, it really, really,
it
really
does.
does. Everybody
It
needs to
does
have some serious self awareness of what's happening out
it
there
does.
where you're at.
As far as the actual event of the 17th, yes, you're completely correct. In the bigger picture, it will be perceived as those things. There's not much we can do to control it, except for how you organize when you go.
Yeah.
Um, blinking here. Yeah. So if I was to go to a place, it'll be Texas, just because of what they've organized there, what they've done with it, and honestly, like I have boys in Utah. If they go, like if y'all are listening or do end up listening, I'd love to hear because that's my community, that's my homeland, that's where I'll fight. When shit hits the fan, that's where I'll be, and I assure you that. But in the interim, I would like to see what they can do with it somewhere else and see it for the good it can be. And to me, the best example is Texas. Michigan would be the next one, and so that's probably where I'll be because yeah, it's more than likely you'll see me in Austin on the 17th.
That'll be
So
interesting.
plan on that
If
with
you
me.
come this far down south, we should
Oh,
fucking hook up.
I'll make that way. We'll go over to Little Rock and we'll go piss on Clinton's brother's grave or something. But
Fuck yeah, let's
uh,
do it. I
we're not
mean,
actually gonna do it,
I
Fed
would
Boys.
never do that. I would never do that. In
Never.
Minecraft, in
It,
Minecraft.
only in Lego Batman. So everything is Batman. Everything is Batman. Thank you, Mad Mac, for sharing that
Hey,
last
we have
night.
our own Batman in Little Rock, so
Everything is Batman. This is true. I've heard about him.
yeah,
So
I like caught photographs of him and stuff out at the protests and stuff like that. I was
yeah,
like, "Dear God, are you dying in that?" And he was like, "Yeah, a little bit."
dude, straight up I've heard about him. An Antifa dude. I have an Antifa friend down in Florida who was at one of your protests just traveling through. He's like, this is the coolest fucking
He's
thing.
so
It was
based, I'm not gonna
Batman in
lie.
Little
He's
Rock.
just
I'm like,
about positivity and crap
yes,
like that.
dude. Oh, that is based AF. I want to meet him so bad.
I do
It's funny you
too.
said that, but
Like I want to
uh,
actually get to talk to him instead
yeah.
of just talking in passing while we're all busy.
Oh, it's so cool. But yeah,
Segue into
that's kind
fucking
of
Little Rock Batman.
that is my viewpoint on the 17th. More than, and again, like any of these
It's
subjects I'm talking about.
refreshing to actually hear somebody, like be concerned though, because like I
Mhm.
think that this is something that even the places where we're gonna actually do it at, we need to think about some stuff. Like, make sure that we're prepared and how we do this is careful.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Not
absolutely.
not fearfully, but carefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
Fuck
with
fear.
fear. Fuck fear, but with care and caution. Not care. We want to be safe, but not secure. But anywho, Baloo. Um, and also, guys, if you leave for this, if you leave with your kit or you leave into an area that you know might be dicey, don't leave with food in the crock pot. Don't be that delusional because
Yeah,
shit might
don't.
pop off. Don't leave with food on the table. Don't plan on coming home for dinner. Have some self reality. If you leave home with your gun we've reached the point. If you leave home don't armed and protesting, don't plan on coming home for dinner. That's what made all these marches in Richmond useless, is because there's a ton of kids planning on coming home for mom's home cooked meal. That's not
Yeah.
going to do anything. If you go into it with that mentality, all you're doing is kind of like flipping off the state, but hiding it in case the red light camera sees it. No,
Yeah.
fuck that. Fuck the
Yeah.
state and be willing
Fuck
to
that.
do it. So that's my point on it. You have anything else other than redacted or?
No, I was actually gonna be like, we did really want to talk about the redacted
Yeah.
stuff. And like it kind of I'm not sure how to segue into it
Yeah.
gracefully.
So I'll say this, guys. Fuck the state. And he has one of
The
he
state's gonna
has
try and fuck you back though. And you
yes.
need to be ready for
So
it.
so fuck excuse me, fuck the state. I'm not denying its authority. I'm not challenging its authority. I'm completely denying it.
Completely denying it.
And that is important. We are no longer trying to defy the state. We are denying it. I'm not saying that you don't have to have a paycheck or live in the white world. Some of us do, some of us to greater extent than others. But living towards the momentum of denying the state. And basically, by and large, living your life the same way as if the state wouldn't exist. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that you don't live within the state or don't end up having to file taxes and get a tax return, but living your true life outside of the state.
If you can manage it, do it.
Well, if you can, yes, if you can get as away from the white market as you can, do it. But what I'm saying is outside of the markets and all of that, just live your life the same way you would as if the state did not exist.
Exactly.
And so the beauty in the redacted, and when they redacted us, this is, I guess, one of, if not really the greatest, it's really the one thing that the Boogaloo movement gave us as kind of the Boogaloo's honestly in its twilight. is that they redacted us, and that is beautiful because they denied we exist. When they redacted us, they said we no longer exist in theory, right?
Yeah, technically.
Um,
That
technically,
was their
they
hope, I
truly said
think.
them. There was that was their hope that it would happen, and it didn't because we had broken the
Mm-mm.
matrix at that point, and it was not going to happen. But when they said when they redacted us, they said we no longer existed.
Yes.
And you know what? The logical inverse of that is they no longer exist either. We denied their existence in return, and that is meaningful. This is the redacted
It is.
revolution, and by and large, the Boogaloo has brought a lot of negativity and a lot of drama and a lot of USB fire pit goddamn horseshit. But it gave us redacted, and that is something any group can use. That is any group with unity can use that redacted
There
moniker.
goes
If you
like
want to,
half of our followers. I'm just
oh, are
kidding.
you see? Oh, I
No,
was like,
I'm just
okay, well,
kidding.
fine.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, because on the flip side, Antifa has been more boog than boog. I'll say that. I will. There goes half of our followers.
Oh,
Antifa,
geez, there they go.
Antifa has been more boog than boog, guys. I didn't see boog boys telling the out of staters to not rep
Well,
their hammered sickle.
yeah,
No, no, hear me
I'm
out. Hear
not
me out.
gonna fucking lie. I've been
Oh,
excited sometimes watching them out there because, like, to me, I'm like, okay, their sentiment may be fucking misplaced, at times in certain
at times,
places,
but so
shit
is the
like
boog.
that.
I
But
mean,
so is ours. Yeah, exactly.
what we've seen.
But that and the BLM movement, like especially the BLM movement, holy shit.
Yeah,
I have not had more moments where my freedom boner was just like knocking over my whole computer screen and shit.
yeah,
Like,
there is, and I've seen it more with Antifa personally, but um, so look, this is yeah. So my point was, is I didn't, I guess, personal experience. I did not see Boog. Well, I didn't see Boog at the VP debates at all. But I certainly didn't see Boog going in and taking out of staters, people not from our community, only coming there to incite. It was not Boog that went and told those Antifa fucks to stop repping Hammer and Sickle. It was other local Antifa. And it wasn't a huge event, actually. It was kind of like hard. If you wouldn't have seen it happen, you wouldn't have even knew it happened. But it was fascinating. And as the cops are pummeling down on them, they're going to be like, no, that's not us. And some of them really are stadies and tankies, by the way, but they still went in and stood for the overall thing. So in that one moment, that one action, Antifa was more boog than anything the boog has done, just straight up.
I
Um,
really think that we have a capacity to work with both BLM
we
movement
do. We need
and
to.
Antifa, and we should.
I
I'm not
marched
saying let's
BLM.
work with communists because I will
No,
never
no.
do that. But that's
Fuck the
not
stadies, fuck the tankies.
that's part of the narrative that they've wrapped around each and every fucking group.
Ah,
Not
I'm
just
back.
for the
Sorry.
Boog, but they've done it to each and every one of us. And for some reason,
Absolutely.
each group, like, there's a lot of people in each group that are like, well, they do it to us and they do it to these people, but surely they're not doing it to this group. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Yeah,
we're guilty of
no,
that as well.
intensely so. So I guess here's where I look at it is you can't kill an idea, but you need action to keep it alive.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it, frankly, is Antifa and BLM's tough for me because its organization is so Marxist in a way even
Well,
the Antifa organization
when
isn't.
I say
Hear me,
BLM, I mean the meat movement, not the
movement.
organization. Kind of fucked up.
I marched BLM years ago. I get it. So I say this is how I look at it. At the end of the day, is Antifa and Boogaloo are flip sides of the same coin. They really are. The flip sides of the same redacted coin. And Antifa is the action that keeps these ideas alive, but Boogaloo is the ideas themselves. It's nothing more and nothing less. Boogaloo is the ideas that we need to be willing to die for, and Antifa are the motherfuckers that are actually dying for it. And that's not going to make a lot. There's going to be people who don't like to hear that. I don't give two flying fucks.
Well, it's not just
But
Antifa, but like, I'm not gonna lie, like there have been
I'm,
attacks upon anarchists themselves, which is
you
not
know, I
necessarily
just,
boog.
I know. I'm just trying not to, especially when it's not my strong suit, to not complicate things. This is as simple as it can be.
Yeah.
To boil it down to brass tacks, and basically everything we've said for the last 2 hours and 14 minutes is, at the end of the day, what it comes down to, where we go forward now, for me, in 3 hours and 45 minutes, is to enter this new year, that we're flip sides of the same redacted coin. And that's how we need to move forward going forward, because we each are bringing something to the table. We're bringing the equal. One of us is bringing in an idea, the other is bringing in action.
Yeah, and that
And
doesn't mean we have to become the same group or anything like that.
no, well, not even that. We can become the same group in one sense. We can be rovers. There's no council. We don't need a council. We don't need this. You can go somewhere where you're a council somewhere. You can be a council somewhere else, but within this sphere, it is voluntary. It is
Completely voluntary.
it is
Localized.
localized, lack of force, decentralized, non-organizational, all of it. It is just,
Yeah.
I mean, this is, and again, there might be a different name for it. I'm not trying to say my name needs to take any superiority. It's just how I work it in my head. If a motherfucker can say he's redacted, cool.
Yeah.
He can also say he's Antifa, egoist, fucking ANCOM, ANCAP,
Yeah, whatever.
fucking
Just be there.
whatever, objectivist, whatever, be there. But at the end of the day, I'm going forward into 2021 viewing this as, is it redacted or is it not? Is this motherfucker just merely defying, or is he denying?
Or is he denying?
Is he just fighting for a reason to live, or does he have a reason to live worth fighting for?
Yeah.
These are the important distinctions we need to make with ourselves, how we carry ourselves, what we do in the communities, what we do in the movement as a whole, and who we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
These are the important questions we need to be asking ourselves every single day. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Honestly, I think that was a really good way to fucking put that. And like, I kind of want to fucking end us on that shit, because I think that's really the whole. I think that's a really strong driving force for both of us. Like, I use different words, but it's the same goddamn thing, you know?
Yeah.
And the more we talk, the more it seems to morph to be more similar and shit like that. But like, you're absolutely fucking right. And honestly, I might piss some people off, but if you're not down with that kind of shit, you need to stay home.
If you're not doing something, if you're not making enemies, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
to quote Eminem or nothing, but Slim Shady for the win.
Hey, sometimes Eminem's pretty fucking wise at times.
Oh, he totally is. Even if his, oh, dude, it's just like sucks that his flow is so much better. But god damn it, I hate him getting sober, dude. He was so much funner when he was getting fucked up. But god damn it,
he was kind of funny back then, but
all the trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside.
Well, you know, I think that he was what he needed, like what people needed him to be too at that time. Because like I remember when all that stuff was coming out, and like honestly, I think that's where we were.
Yeah. Well, Mike, Bobby, I think that you're right. That's a pretty good place to end it.
If you got anything left that you want to say, or anything you want to shout out, or anything like that, or tell people where they can fucking find you or something.
Yeah. I guess you can find me in Pocatello, Idaho, if you really want to come fight me, bro.
Online, but sure.
Come fight me, bro. I'm in Chubbuck, Idaho. Come find me. I don't give a fuck. I really should though, because look at me. There's not much of me.
Yeah, you're skinny.
I'm 6'2" and 145 pounds.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at some of my friends, and I'm like, look, if I walk up and there's some motherfuckers fighting each other, I'm not gonna do anything about it to start. I mean, like,
I'm 6'2", 100.
Start trying to kill each other, I'm gonna step in at that point. But like, if they're just fighting, look at me. I'm fucking 4'11". I'm basically almost a fucking midget.
Oh, you're a total Hausdorff. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's crazy wild.
Yeah, where to find me? It's Tommy Paine the Eighth. I'm on Facebook. Still, believe it or not. Find me Tommy Paine.
I can't believe that shit. Like he's on Facebook, but I'm not anymore. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's Tommy Paine the Eighth on Facebook. I'm on MeWe under the same moniker. Those are probably best places to start up a chat if you are so inclined, if you hate yourself that much. I'm on Twitter under the same moniker. I just usually scream bullshit into the void about how the government killed Kobe because the
Stuff I'm
government killed
afraid to
Kobe.
retweet some days. I'm like, I really want to retweet that, but maybe I
Yeah,
should wait on
yeah.
that.
So,
We'll come
so,
back next month.
so, yeah. Facebook and Twitter and MeWe under Tommy Paine the Eighth. I'm on Keybase if you really want to have private comms under Tommy Paine the 24th. But those three, Tommy Paine the 8th under Facebook and MeWe and Twitter is probably the place to start. Again, if you hate yourself that much, we can go from there.
You gotta set yourself up a fucking link tree, jeez.
No, it's no fun to say good things about myself. It's a lot funner not to. Don't take myself seriously at all, dude. Um, so that would be that. That would be pretty much where you'd find me. And like I said, I'm more than willing to have these discussions with anybody. I've been really pushing to start having these
He
discussions
is.
within the movement. We need to be talking to each other. This can't be keep being ones and zeros. This would be my ending point. This can't keep being ones and zeros. We need to bring this outside of the matrix. We broke the matrix. It's time to take it outside of it.
Yeah.
So that would be my parting statement. I'm gonna go throw on Ghetto Boys. Don't it feel good to be a gangster? I think we should all listen to that song before the end of 2020. Throw on Don't It Feel Good to Be a Gangster. Fuck the state. Love y'all. Stay redacted, motherfuckers.
Thanks, you guys. If you guys, like you said, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, make sure that you get down into our comments, like and subscribe and shit
Yep.
like that. If you haven't already, lame motherfuckers. Get on our page and check out all the other freaking redacted channels and stuff like that that we have on there. And
Yeah.
if you like what you've seen us doing out here and you want us to be able to do more of it and do some cool ass shit, we could use more hands on deck. Hit us up, just chat us up. We'll fucking take you. So long as we don't think you're sus or a fed. But if you don't have time, you can always send us your dirty, filthy white market cash and in our subscribe star, or you can send us your crypto or your white market crypto, and
If you
we'll
send
deal
him
with it.
crypto, he'll even send you nudes.
Yeah, I might, or I'll send you feet pics. I'll send you feet pics. Um,
He'll send you thigh pics and feet pics. He
yeah,
promises.
yeah, sure, why not? Y'all get in there and send us shit. Just like make sure to leave
Cool.
a note. Be like, this is for the feet pics. No, I should start a Liberty OnlyFans. But we take this stuff. We've already hit our bills, and so we put it in a fund and we use it to help basically anyone in the liberty movement that fucking comes to me in need. I just fucking try and dole it out as best as I can. So if you like that and you want to help us do that, continue to put into that fund and make liberty great again, so that we can make guillotines great again. Um, we don't have anything planned this weekend, but I am going to start trying to do something daily. Sunday obviously will not be that because I do the day off and shit like that. And we'll see you then, guys. Until then, you stay safe, stay free. Do not, and I repeat, do not sacrifice your fucking freedom for safety. It's a fucking illusion. Just keep yourself aware, be aware and beware, and don't be fearful. We'll see you guys soon. This episode of Mad Liberty Time is fucking adjourned.
Fuck the state, bro.
Fuck the state. Fuck Connecticut. Fuck